Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Okay, I got it. I almost forgot to do my own damn show. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, and hot topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including we got to get into this box office for Wicked for Good. I'm sure y'all already know that was the #1 movie, but we'll get into the numbers. Plus, we have an update on the guy who charged that Ariana Grande because, he did his 9 days in jail apparently, but yeah, he got deported. So we got to get into that. And he's banned from being in Singapore. So we got to get into that. Plus, I have this Wonder Woman. Oh, yeah. Then there was another article that came out that conservatives are all coming in and going in on Wicked for Good, saying that it's promoting homosexuality and all this other good stuff, saying like everybody's gay in the movie. So we got to get into that. Plus, Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot says that she wants to play Snow White's evil queen again, even though none of y'all cared about the first Snow White, but she's holding out that she's going to get to play the character again when they said she wasn't even the best part of the movie. And the movie was already bad as it was. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to get into this tea about Rose McGowan speaking out about Scream 7 naming Sidney Prescott's daughter after her character in the first film. I have an update on Thanksgiving too. Sleepaway Camp, the remake script is complete. We'll get into that. Plus, we have some Housewives news. Oh, yeah, and I forgot. Oh, wait, before that, Hugh Jackman is hinting that he wants to come back as Wolverine. So we'll get into that tea. Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker done split up. I was not expecting to hear that tea, but I know one person in that family is probably happy, and it's Mama Joyce. So we'll get into that. Plus, the Bravo chairman, there's a Bravo chairman that said that the door is open for NeNe Leakes to come back to the Housewives of Atlanta. I want to hear from y'all if y'all would be yay or nay regarding that. Also, there's a rumor, but then again, she might not have a home to come to because there's a rumor, according to Radar Online, that NBC is looking to axe this in the entire Housewives franchise because they're talking about the drama has gotten way too real, too many criminal situations going on, too many lawsuits. We'll get into that story. Plus, we have news on apparently Jennifer Garner is not here for Jennifer Lopez spending the holidays with their children. Homosexual actor Kevin Spacey is clarifying rumors that he's homeless, and also why is RuPaul's Drag Race being mentioned in the Epstein files? So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you have not already, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. And I see we already got comments. Um, Felix liked the show or Wicked for Good, even though it's been getting mixed reviews. And we have Lisa Taylor up in the room saying, hello, hello, hello. Or as Alaska would say, hi. Wicked was pretty good, but not as much as the first one. Oh God. Sailor Mermaid was another one. I'm gonna pray for you gays. Y'all sitting up here talking about y'all like some damn Wicked. I'm kidding. Y'all can like what y'all like. I went to go see Sisu um Road to Vengeance. I'm gonna get into that, my overall thoughts regarding that when we get to the box office numbers for that. Robert says good morning. Well, oh shit, it is morning where you're at. It said, so good morning, good morning. How Funky don't even be saying it. Good morning. I am doing well. Glad to see you are in the room in the live chat with everybody else. You know what I was trying to think? I was like, should I put up the live chat feed or whatever because I noticed when people are watching on the phone, those numbers are much bigger than the other version. But it looks good on when you watch it on the laptop, the computer, and all this stuff. But when you're on the phone, it's like it's blocking stuff. So they need to figure out like how to maneuver that look to the other side. The situation. They're talking about hide. No, I don't want to hide the vertical broadcast. I want to be able to see everything when I'm in here. But you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna actually wait. Let me hit my banner. Let me actually put it on. Wait, hold on. Now it's like I'm forgetting how to do my own damn show. You know what? Forget it. I'll put that up. I'm a dog person. Um, Cats is not really my thing. Cats are really sneaky, and I don't know. I don't be trusting them. I be thinking that they're gonna be like they're gonna try to take my breath and stuff and try to kill me in my sleep. So that's why I stick with dogs. And I have two, which I mentioned on this show, Xena and Prince. Those are my two dogs. All right, so now without further ado, I'll let the comments do what it's doing while we get into our first topic, which is the babies are well. Pain in the behind. But Zena's in one of her moods again. She don't want to go to the bathroom. I said, okay, well, you better not shit on my floor, because then I'm gonna kill you. Metaphorically speaking, I would never kill an actual animal. But I was like, I'm gonna kill you metaphorically. Let's get into the show, by the way. And let's talk about Wicked for Good. So, yeah, the numbers have come in. We shouldn't be shocked at all that Wicked knows about how to be popular at the box office. So, yes, it's doing this big one. It's bringing in the coins. Wait, hold on. Why is my picture not showing? Okay. Thank you. I was like, why is the photo not coming up? It's there now. Let me know in the comments if you can see it, because sometimes I'll be able to see stuff, and then y'all be like, it's not there. So shout out to Variety for the latest tally. They said Wicked for Good, Universal's rendition of Act Two of the musical sensation. Yes, it is not a sequel. It is the second half of the first film. Was number one with $150 million from 4,115 North American theaters in its opening weekend. Excuse me. The film set a record for Broadway's adaptations, shattering the debut of 2024's Wicked, which previously held the benchmark with 112.5 million over the same pre-Thanksgiving frame. These ticket sales also rank as the year's second biggest opening, behind April's Minecraft movie, which brought in 162 million. I still haven't watched that movie, even though I know it's available on streaming services to watch. But above May's Lilo and Stitch remake with 146 million. And I actually like Lilo and Stitch, the remake. You know what's actually I'm the live action one. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing Moana, the live action one, because that one actually, when I saw the trailer the other day, visually it looks really good, and I'm sure it's probably I'm hoping that they kind of change it up a little bit. I don't want a shot by shot remake of what we saw in the animation. Like, can get hopefully y'all give us something different. But I actually enjoyed the live action Lilo and Stitch, and I'm sure they're going to make another one, so it'll be cool to see where they go with that. So they said Wicked for Good collected an additional $76 million at the international box office, bringing its global total to 226 million. It marks the biggest overseas and global openings for a stage musical adaptation, also overtaking its predecessor Wicked, which debuted at 250.2 million internationally and 164.2 million globally. Quote, this is broad appealing Hollywood filmmaking at its best, said David A. Gross, who runs the movie consulting firm Franchise Entertainment Research, saying, quote, strong word of mouth is going to drive business through the Thanksgiving holiday and into December. This is a smash. Well, I think also people were showing up for this film because they saw the first half. They liked what was brought about in this film. So it's kind of goes without saying that they're like, okay, I want to go see what happens in the second half of the movie. And quiet as it's kept, there's always been stories that even if you've seen the Broadway musical, the second half I've always heard is not as strong as the first half. So I think most people were curious to see how they were going to maybe fix up certain things and make it more palatable. But according to most of the consensus, they were saying that John M. Chu wasn't able to do what need to be done in regards to making this, like, hitting the ball out of the park with the second half of the movie. And to be honest, there really wasn't that much that you could put in with that second half that they cut out. You could have just made one long ass movie. But I understand Hollywood, they're big on, well, we got to have a lot of screenings for this movie. So we can't sit up in here with a 3.5, damn near 4 hour movie. Um, because it's going to take up a lot of the screens at the box office, and they want to be able to squeeze as much juice out of the lemon as they possibly can. So yeah, this is a cash grab, obviously, but they're not going to tell you that. So they're into my strong word of mouth. So I do think that the people that saw the first half of Wicked were like, okay, I got to see this. So of course they're going to come out. And Now it all boils down to strong word of mouth if it's going to be able to continue this number. Because you have to also realize this week we have a new animated movie coming out. Damn, I totally forgot what the name. What is it? Zootopia 2 that's coming out this week. So y'all got a challenge on y'all, on your hands that you have this another family movie. Because let's be clear, Wicked is a family film. That everybody's going to come out. The parent, grown people who love music. Well, what do they call them? Like theater queens and some of the girls. You're going to have the homosexuals that's going to come out. You're going to have the kids that's going to come out with their parents. So it's fun for the whole family, as they would put it. Okay, and so then they basically said that Wicked for Good has been billed as the must-see conclusion to Elphaba and Glinda's epic journey down the Yellow Brick Road, which I heard the movie opens with them building the Yellow Brick Road. The entry picks up as the Wizard and Madame Marble, who, no shade, I don't know why they picked Michelle Yeoh to be in the movie. I understand that maybe he did it because they did Crazy Rich Asians together, but if you're not a singer, don't put her up in there. Or y'all could have just did what y'all did back in the days of Hollywood when Natalie Wood, she was not a singer in West Side Story. They cast somebody, well, they hired somebody to do her voice, the vocals, and then have them come in and do that. Or you could have probably hired someone who actually has screen presence that could have played Madame Marble. Maybe you could have cast Adina or Adele Dazeem. Sorry, we got to say it like John Travolta. I mean, instead of giving her and Kristen Chenoweth a cameo in the last movie. Or maybe you could have hired somebody who does have that appeal of doing both cinema and Broadway, like a Cheryl Lee Ralph or somebody. Maybe y'all could have cast her up in that. Cheryl Lee Ralph could play you know, a bad girl. I was gonna say bad, but she is a woman, but bad girl. So yeah, it said, meanwhile, the Green Witch's perky, pink, loving BFF embraces a public persona as Glinda the Good. Like the initial installment, positive word of mouth and the catchy soundtrack are likely to drive repeat business throughout the rest of the year. Also, they were saying that the music in this film is not as strong as the earlier stuff. Yeah, it was like you heard Defining Gravity and Popular and all those songs. Those were like the big hits. But like post that, now that we got those songs out of the way, how do you get people interested in wanting to continue to see this film multiple times? Unless you're all about the razzle dazzle and you're a big Ariana Grande fan. So then they also said that the box office hasn't really been doing well that lately. Like the last big bomb that they just had at the box office was Running Man. That movie didn't do well, and they had a 62% drop at the box office over the weekend. So now, like I said, they have Zootopia 2 coming out next week, and I think there will be a couple of weeks before we get Avatar Fire and Ash. So we already know those will probably be the two big films. Now, also they had Sisu Road to Revenge and Rental Family, which is the new Brendan Fraser movie. Which I was looking at that, I was like, no shade, nobody's going to the movies to see that. No, like I like Brendan Fraser, and I'm glad that he's coming back to doing another Mummy movie. But nobody's gonna go to the movies and see a film about a lonely, struggling actor who lands the not so plum job of playing stand-in roles for strangers in Japan. Nobody that should have went straight to streaming. Nobody's paying top dollar unless you're a big movie head to go see something like that. But anyway, that film came in fifth place with 3.2 million from 1,925 cinemas. And yeah, the movie's gotten great reviews. It got an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes and an A grade on Cinema Score. But yeah, that's not something that people are going to be spending a lot of money to go to the movies just to see a type of film like that. Like they're either rent it at home or watch it in a, like I said, they'll rent it at home or they'll wait until it comes out on a streaming service. Now, Season 2 came in sixth with 2.2 million from 2,222 theaters behind already sold estimates of 3 million. Those ticket sales are behind the prior installment's 2022 C2, which ignited to 3.3 million before tapping out with 7 million domestically and 14 million globally. Well, the first one was actually pretty good. It was just like a straightforward action movie. This guy finds gold. He's trying to get it to the bank to cash it in. He comes across some damn Nazis and pretty much guts them all one by one. This film is different. It kind of gives a bit of his backstory. He's trying to get home to Finland, so he basically just takes his entire house apart, puts it all the pieces of wood, numbers them, puts them in the truck, and is trying to cross from where he was living to basically get to Finland. So it's kind of like Mad Max Fury Road, like it's a road film, but it's just a lot of things ensue. And I like Stephen Lang. He was good as the villain in the film, but to be honest, I didn't like this whole idea of having your lead actor. He says literally nothing in this movie. Now, if you saw the first season, he does say like one line when he gets to the line when he gets online at the bank and is cashing in the gold. But in this movie, literally no dialogue whatsoever. The action sequences were cool. It was a bit over the top, but I felt like it was. I'm like, why? I'm feeling a little let down from a lot of the stuff. I was feeling let down from the action sequences. I was feeling let down from a lot of the stunts. I was feeling even let down from some of the pacing was even slow for me. So I wanted to like this movie, but I ended up feeling like it was all right. Like it was giving me those John Wick vibes, but I felt like it really wasn't hitting those John Wick peaks. Like whenever I watch like a crazy over the top action movie, I always refer to them as oh shit moments. And I really didn't feel like I was getting oh shit moments from there or that sense of like goosebumps or a chill or whatever when your main character gets in the pocket with certain things. So another thing too, if you're gonna do this whole man that's like real quiet or silent doesn't have you have to give him something to say. Like even with Keanu Reeves barely having lines in the movies as they progress, at least he spoke. So you can't do a whole movie where your character is mute, especially when he ain't deaf and he could speak. So I was gonna say if they decide to make another one, I hope they. But at this point, I hope they give him something more to say or whatever the case. Like he actually has some dialogue. But honestly, the way these numbers are going, I don't think there's going to be a Sisu 3. And to be honest, I don't even think it needs a third one. I felt like the first movie did what it needed to do, and now it should have been a one and done. But because it was a smaller film and it was successful, they always feel like let's add more to the situation. And I'm like, you don't need it. So yeah, there's that. But oh, and then also they have Predator Badlands. But actually, sorry, let's not skip over that. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Added 9.6 million in its second weekend of release, and it had like a 54% drop, which is like standard. And so it's amassed 37 million domestically, even though I heard the movie's not that great. Predator Badlands came in third with 6.5 million in its third weekend. The Running Man, as I told y'all, came in fourth. Well, I didn't tell you it came in fourth, but I told you it had like a big drop. It brought in 6.1 million after, in its second week. And they're talking about that both are big budget tent poles that will struggle to recoup their budget since theater owners get to keep half of ticket sales. So Badlands has the budget was 105 million. It earned 76 million domestically. The Running Man, which carries 110 million, has generated just 27 million in North America. So I feel like Running Man's going to have a harder time. Do I feel like Badlands will make it'll break even? I think eventually I don't think it's going to struggle as much as Running Man is, because between 110 million and then also whatever the marketing was probably like another 50 to 75 million. I don't see that's going to happen. And I already gave y'all my overall thoughts about Running Man. Like I was disappointed with the movie. I mean, Glenn Powell did a great job, but I just felt like it was just too hammy and too nail on the head in regards of the overall thing behind like what they were, the social commentary of it all. It seems like horror movies are way better at articulating social, economic, or political commentary better than like like the certain sci-fi ones. But not everybody's good at it. But anyway, to get back into Wicked, let's get into this other piece that I want to talk about. So there was an article that I came across over there on Pink News where Charlie Kirk's friend apparently accuses Wicked for Good for pushing a radical LGBTQ plus agenda. So it says the release for Wicked for Good has triggered criticism from a wave of anti-Levitical plus conservative influences. Well, quiet as it's kept, there's quite a few of them that's in the closet. Charlie Kirk I mean, not Charlie Kirk. Who's that other queen? Nick Fuentes? That's a big old rhymes with maggot. He just ain't come out and tell y'all, but we could tell. But anyway, so among them is Isabel Brown, a YouTuber in front of the late Charlie Kirk. I don't know her. Brown has claimed that Wicked movies are pushing a radical Levitical plus agenda. She's one of several right-wing influencers who are using press tour videos of Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo to prove a point that Hollywood has corrupted the Wizard of Oz story. Vanity Fair reported that much of this uproar can be traced back to a video from conservative rage bait account. Yeah, them troglodytes, libs of TikTok. Okay. Now in the clip, Grande declares Oz has always been a queer place, a safe place for queer people, for every different color of the rainbow, for everybody. Read the L. Frank Baum book. It's the truth. Well, I read the L. Frank Baum book, and she is absolutely correct that there is queer allegories throughout that book. When you look at the original film, The Wizard of Oz, which is way more very progressive for its time when it came out, in regards to the subject matter and all the things that they were discussing in that film, there are pretty much queer allegories in the film, especially when you look at the Cowardly Lion or the way the characters. Why do you think so many gay, like, Levitical plus people, or I would say queer people, relate so much with the Wizard of Oz, and especially put Judy Garland on such a high pedestal? Why do you think that back in the day, the old queers used to refer to, their friends, if you're a gay person, as their good Judy? They were talking about Judy Garland. So she said, so they said, I have been a massive, massive fan of the story for basically my entire childhood and growing up into adulthood. Well, clearly you one of them slow ass bitches that didn't understand what the fuck you was watching. But let's continue to hear what this idiot, clickbaiter or rage baiter had to say. She said, these unbelievably out of touch coastal elitist, psycho leftist members of Hollywood. She must have really had to Google to come up with all of that, because I know that was a mouthful for even her. Of Hollywood, whether they are in front of the camera or behind the camera, are intentionally trying to manipulate some of the greatest stories of all time to specifically push a radical Levitical plus agenda, even if it has nothing to do with the story whatsoever. And I feel like if people are trying to push whatever this agenda is that you're talking about, you dumb bitch, I don't think they need to try to sugarcoat it. They would have just came out and said it. But the fact of the matter was, y'all live in this little bubble of delusion, kind of like with this current administration and the altar in which y'all worship, and think that whenever somebody tries to put something out there that is trying to push a damn agenda. Nobody's trying to push no goddamn agenda. It's just you too obtuse to understand the queer social political allegories that was throughout The Wizard of Oz. There is something very sinister happening behind the scenes on the set of Wicked, and somebody needs to do a wellness check on both these young women. Apparently, everyone's gay. The wizard is gay. The witches are gay. The professors are gay. The animals are gay, even though literally all of this is fantasy. I'm not even dignifying that last part with a response, because the wellness check, no shade, needs to be done on some of you radical, crazy you know, I was gonna say nut bugs. I don't even know what the fuck that is. But no, a wellness had to be done on y'all, because the fact of the matter is y'all pull so much of this shit out y'all ass talking about that this is literally an agenda people are trying to push. Anything that's diverse, anything that's different, y'all want to sit and weaponize and change up narratives of words. Y'all want to call it woke, which I'm sick and tired of the fact that, yeah, a lot of you clear folks have taken that word and you've bastardized it when it was something created by Black people, for us to be vigilant and aware of what's going on in our circles pertaining to discrimination against people of color, particularly Black people. That is where woke comes from. Woke is a word that came about in the 1920s. It's not something that was just invented. So when y'all sit up here and try to use these little buzzwords to get people riled up, because yeah, y'all need content over on your tired ass channel, because apparently everybody's a friend of Charlie Kirk, including his fake ass wife, who sat up here trying to grift off of that man's death. And then she went and said that you are trying to canonically say that 10 times fast. Basically, what you were trying to say, they were trying to chain up canon. I was like, y'all be coming up in here with these words or whatever, trying to make yourselves sound more intelligent than you are. But the fact of it was, she's trying to say they're trying to chain up the canon of stories that she grew up liking, that I guess it's simply about the battle of good and evil. I just love how y'all try to simplify shit. When things that go on in a lot of films or whatever, whenever you're talking about certain things, it's multi-layered. Nothing is just black and white. It's not just about the battle between good and evil. Now, I will say this. The one thing that does irritate me about stories like with Wicked, or even the story we're going to get into later on, uh, when Gal Gadot was up in here talking about she want to play the evil queen again. Like when it comes to Maleficent, all these other things. I don't like the fact when y'all try to take characters that were created as villains. I want to make them misunderstood. They got to be sort of like Like there's layers to why they're evil. Why can't we just keep certain characters that no, this bitch is just out her fucking mind? Like I want to give them backstory. I want to explain why they are evil why they are the way they are. It's kind of like the same thing when I said about Michael Myers and Halloween. Why can't he just be this force of evil that I just kill because I feel like it, because it's in my bones, because it's just something that is just within me? No, you got to give him a backstory about my mommy was a stripper, my stepfather's an asshole, my sister is a whore, and all these other things, and now and I'm getting bullied in school, and that's why I'm messed up. No, he grew up as a kid that was in the suburbs and decided one night while his sister was upstairs hunching in that damn room that I wanted to make carnage candy out the bitch. Why can't we just keep things that way? And yeah, it does kind of, and I will agree with this, not saying anything this donkey is saying, but the promotion behind this whole Wicked thing has been grinding my gears. It just feels a little too fake and put upon. It's like, okay, we get it. Y'all are friends, y'all like each other. And maybe there's some truth in there, they genuinely like each other. But the touching and the all of that stuff, yeah, it's cute to see like that women can get along and it's friendly, whatever. It just feels a little too like, okay, like y'all really trying to fight to get this goddamn Oscar. And I'm sure that they'll be up for nominations when that time comes around. But the way they talk about this movie not being all that great, I don't see a lot of Oscars in the future in regards to this movie. So, um, good luck to y'all. But I do think there will be some nominations that will be given between Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I can see that happening, but I don't know. Maybe the weird part is what category do they put them in as? Best supporting? And they go up against each other, because if they put Ariana in the lead actor category, she definitely, I mean, I don't think she got a chance of winning anyway, but in either category. But if they would have put her in best actress, like she definitely doesn't have a chance of winning, because there's probably going to be a lot of stronger actors that are going to be up in there. And then here's the thing. If this is the thing that they talking about, we already know a lot of you Charlie Kirk supporters and all these other stuff, all you libs of TikTok, all of y'all. Well, we know y'all are homophobic, transphobic. Y'all don't like anything unless it's just the purity of y'all being white. And also, um, if it's so gay or whatever, then why has the Trump administration? Because do we need to get into the story about Trump allegedly blowing somebody named Bubba, and the Netanyahu having that dirt on him, or was it Putin? One of them. I can't tell which dictator from one dictator from another, but one of them have dirt on apparently Trump that he blew somebody named Bubba, and everybody automatically assumed, me included. But even though I was sharing the memes and I thought it was funny, everybody thought it was Bill Clinton. But I wouldn't put nothing past taco tits blowing Bill Clinton or somebody named Bubba in general. And this whole love fest he had with Zoran, that was a cackle. But if it's so gay or whatever, right? And y'all hate the gays so much, then why did your Lord and Savior Trump and his administration use Defying Gravity to promote the work of ICE on TikTok? Answer that. So y'all can't sit and pick and choose what y'all want to be outraged about, and then when we call y'all out on y'all shit, then all of a sudden y'all lose what little is left of y'all minds over the fact that we calling y'all out over the craziness. But yeah, so this person is an idiot and doesn't know what the hell they talking about. And last but certainly not least, before we move on into me reading the comments and everything, I do want to get to this final topic. So we got to talk about this nutbag Australian child, because I guess that's where he's from since they deported his ass there. Um, well, it looks like Singapore has shut the door on this young man, because while remember when he jumped over the thing, the clout chaser jumped over the fence or whatever, the little barricade, and went to bum rush Ariana Grande because he wanted to have his little moment. Well, I hope that it was worth it, because his behind just got deported back to Australia, and he's been barred from re-entering Singapore. And this is according to reports from multiple outlets, including CBS and BBC News. An influencer who also goes by the moniker Pajama Man, his name is Johnson Wen, by the way, in case y'all wonder, and he's 26. He sparked outrage on the November 13th Singapore premiere of the Wicked sequel when he jumped over the barricade and rushed the red carpet. He was subsequently found guilty of being a public nuisance in Singaporean court and sentenced to 9 days in prison. He told the judge in mitigation that he would not do it again, which I'm not buying because, well, maybe this is the extent of him getting the bulk of the consequences to his actions being matched, because I don't know when, because remember, he's notorious for jumping on people's stages at concerts. He did it to Katy Perry and he did it to a couple of other performers where he jumped on the stage while they're performing and wanted to have his little moment. So I don't know if he was dealt with in those times, but this is the most, it seems like, because of just the first time I'm just now hearing of this guy, that this is the most extreme law smackdown situation of what he's done. So now he's talking about he won't do it again, which I didn't believe, and I don't think he'll stop, because who knows? Maybe when in Australia somebody will be on a red carpet, and that's a long ass flight too. If you come up from the United States, um, he'll do something else stupid. And maybe he'll get something worse. So I hope the juice was worth the squeeze, and I hope this whole, I hope it was worth it that you did what you did, because now you've been kicked out of a country and you can't even be let back in. Now, footage of the incident saw Wynn grab Grande, who was walking hand in hand with fellow cast members Cynthia Erivo, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, they had to walk hand in hand because between the three of them, they're 150 pounds soaking wet. So they got to hold each other up so the wind don't blow in a direction. One of them knock over like a damn pack of dominoes. So then the shocking interaction immediately went viral on social media, with one angle revealing that Wynn attempted to rush Grande a second time, but was caught by security before he could reach the singer. Revo has since opened up about the incident during a sit down with Today host Savannah Guthrie, saying, "I wasn't really thinking." She said on last Thursday's episode of the morning show, "I just wanted to make sure my friend was safe." Didn't I tell y'all she was running up in here acting like she was security and quiet as a kept? She was better at security and securing the situation than the actual security. These security guards, that's why I said it will be like, if I was to ever get at that level of security, first of all, I'm making y'all run laps. Y'all gonna have to run. I need to know if you can run, if you could actually bum rush a MFer, if ever there's a situation where my life is in danger. I need to know y'all got some agility. I need to know if you got good core strength. Because it's like, what y'all not going to do is we wobble your fat ass over me. And them security, I'm not calling, well, I'm just saying fat in general, but because if you ever seen some of these cops in New York, some of y'all, there needs to be a requirement that y'all do a fitness test, kind of like being a fireman, like it's a requirement. But if you're going to be doing any kind of labor like this type of job, you have to be in good shape. You can't be just, because I could have been gutted by the time you got over me. And then security was moving kind of slow for me. And so, of course, you had Cynthia Erivo, the bull dagger done kicked in on her. What you're not going to do is come in on my friend. And you already know they got the racial allegories, because since this other bitch want to sit here and talk about gay allegories, there's also the racial allegory that's in this film as well, being that they made Cynthia Erivo, who was a black woman, she played Elphaba, who was normally played, if you ever seen the Broadway play, played by a white woman, Adele Dazeem. I don't know Adina Menzel. So that's why we call her by that other name. So um there's those allegories and stuff in the movie as well. So okay, so then she also said, we have, do I really want to read this? Because this is where all that tearful stuff that I already told y'all irritates me with them. We have come through some shit. We have come through some stuff in our lives, in our daily workings. I mean, fuck, even this last week, let's be honest, we've had to deal with some stuff. And this movie has allowed us to really grow as people, as friends, as sisters, as artists. I said, girl, keep my fucking line. Like, if you're really trying to vie for this damn Oscar, can you just give it to them already? Because the Razzie performance is sending me. Like, I'm getting so irritated with this whole situation, where every time these two wind up in a room together, or every time they do an interview, they either crying, they holding each other's fingers, they literally trying to find ways to stick their hand up under each other's skirt and play with each other's clit. It's just like, can we just, y'all doing too much. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So yeah, there's that. So old boy has been banned from Singapore. Hopefully he learned his lesson. But a lot of you clout chasing thirst buckets that be up on social media looking for a moment, I just don't know if he is if he has learned his lesson. But we'll see if we end up hearing more stories from him in the future, down in Australia. Since, like I said before, he can't get it. He's been locked out of Singapore. They got all that facial recognition. So even if he tries to sneak in incognito with a cap on or whatever, I don't think he can go Mission Impossible style with the whole new face mask or whatever. But yeah, you've been locked out of Singapore, Mister Sir. But anyway. I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Of all of it, the box office, the stupid thing with Charlie Kirk's friend had to say about this whole queer allegory in the movie, and the latest on the guy who bum rushed Ariana Grande being deported. I definitely want to hear from y'all, so let me know what you guys think of this long-winded story in the comments down below. Now hold on, because we got a lot of comments up in here. The number here says, Bonjour. Lisa said, I like German Shepherds. hmm Speaking of, I don't know if the breed was German Shepherd, but did y'all see that movie Good Boy? I actually saw that last night. It was good. I liked it. It was short, as it needed to be. The dog Indy, I thought did a phenomenal. I was like, now, so that's somebody who need a best actor category. I don't know if they ever came up with a category of best dog acting in a film. Definitely give him the acting award. He was a really good actor in that film, and it's on Shutter in case anybody's looking to see the film. So yeah, I watched it last night along with I caught up with Welcome to Derry. So I am finally caught up on the show. They finally revealed Pennywise last night. I knew Maddie was wait, I ain't gonna spoil it. Sorry, in case anybody didn't see it, because I was gonna say I knew a certain character was Pennywise. And getting into the backstory with the Native Americans and everything. So, and I'm glad somebody also agrees the crime with Ariana. Yeah, it's because it's tired, it's annoying. It's like, okay, y'all doing too much. Like, I understand if you do it every now and again, or if it was like maybe once or twice, but every goddamn interview, like, stop it. I saw a clip of someone hugging. Oh yeah, I had that picture. I was trying to find it, and I couldn't find it. Um, I couldn't remember where I posted it. I was like scrolling through and stuff. And I was like, damn, I can't find it because I was going to use that to put up in here with the picture. hmm You mean snatch mates? You talking about some damn soulmates. That's the same amount of Christie owe the shade, but read the article's wicked success is due to fandom of Ariana Grande and Cynthia. Is that a misspelling? You put El Vibro. So I want Vanity to wait to see if Ariana fans. Well, you're gonna say that if Ariana fans gonna continue to support the movie? I mean, that could be a mixture because here's the thing. It don't necessarily that don't just because you're a fan of an artist does not necessarily mean that you can open a movie or that you can bring those same people to the theater. Because look at Taylor Swift. She did a movie. She did Cats. None of y'all came out to see it. Um, Beyonce has done a couple of movies, and if she was leading, she didn't bring people out. She was part of an ensemble, but by herself. Mm-mm. Also, there was something else I meant to bring up and I forgot. Remember this whole thing where there was somebody, oh yeah, Ariana's beat all the other pop stars that become movie stars now because of Wicked, and it's become one of the most successful films, and now she's surpassed. So I'm like, okay, first of all, pump your goddamn brakes. Number one, she's only done one movie, split into two. That's Wicked. She filmed all that around the same time. So technically, that's one movie split down into two films. Because of the pre existing success of Wicked, obviously she was going to bring people in to see Wicked for good. That's a given. We'll revisit this conversation when she releases Fokker in Law, which she's actually starring in that movie with all the Fokkers and everybody that's supposed to be in that. I don't know if Barbara Streisand is going to be in that film. All I know is um Ben Stiller is back. So I'm assuming all the whole cast and everything is gonna be coming back. But yeah, they're all someone else that she surpassed. I'm like, first of all, Cher had a career as a singer and she's an Oscar winner. She will remind your ass that she got an Oscar. I mean, Lady Gaga. is an actor, singer, has an Oscar, or is it more than one Oscar? I can't remember. But Madonna, say what you want about her acting, but she has been able to, when she's been part of certain movies, she's had some legitimate success in certain areas. I ain't gonna say like she's a good actor because she's not, but she has been a part of some films that were very successful, including one of being Dick Tracy, League of Their Own, Desperately Seeking Susan. I can go on and on. So y'all sitting up in here running y'all mouths talking about Ariana Grande. So I was like, child, first of all, Google is your friend. Look it up. She is not the first person to be able to balance those things. Now, if she's able to sustain a career beyond Wicked, we could revisit this conversation. But so far, this is a one movie situation. We'll revisit the conversation when she comes out and does more films, and those numbers are up there with the Wickeds. I love Yorkies. My friend's brother has a, what's that? A Weimaraner? You say she used to be scared of me, but now she loves. Well, some dogs got to get used to being around people. They say, so no shade. She can be there with Madonna, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, and Janet Jackson. Huge first film, but lots of flaws. And another thing too, Janet Jackson did movies or whatever. Like she was in Poetic Justice. She was in Meet. What was it? The first. Yeah, it was no, it was the second one. It was Meet the Clumps. Jada Pinkett was in the first one of Nutty Professor, which the second one wasn't really that good. He said Marley. Oh, I know a girl named Marley that I worked with at the Garden. He said the fact that they made uh LA of Moana when it's my live action child, y'all with these abbreviations when it's not even that old tells how lazy the House of Mouse is. I mean, how old was the Little Mermaid before they decided to make one live action? That live action movie was trash. The Lilo and Stitch live action movie did well, so it's because of Lilo and Stitch. You already know that's how that's how Disney is. I don't understand why they didn't show. I don't understand either. Yeah, because quiet as it's kept, Disney Channel ain't got jack shit on that damn channel. Bob Iger need to go. Well, look, at one point they did get rid of Bob Iger. He was trying to step down. He was trying to move on, but y'all had Bob Chapek up in there. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was ruining the situation. So they brought Bob Iger back to clean up Bob Chapek's mess. And so now he's trying to find a successor so he can actually retire for real. He said, "Yeah, that annoyed me. Why didn't they show Dorothy's face in one quick clip? You see half of it. Yeah, I don't understand that, but y'all can show the Cowardly Lion. Why? Because Coleman Domingo did the voice, and I like Coleman Domingo. He's a good actor. He was the best part of. Excuse me. He was the best part of the Running Man on Boy the Knights in the building. Love you too." And he said, "I do invocate and conjure thee." Oh, what the hell? Oh, I ain't reading no spell up on here. You're not cursing this damn show. You take that goddess of Hecate shit over there to, somewhere else. And you said Princess Fiona's sister. Okay. What is all this mess? Y'all should be tipping me $5 damn. That's what I got the super chats and the super stickers for. And it says somewhere over the rainbow is a gay anthem, so is defining gravity. Chill. These people over there with these Charlie Kirk types, bunch of fucking walking idiots. And you said shade but true. Gal Gadot is actually a better singer than Michelle Yeoh. I hope. Why you want her to sing Imagine again? Talk to you later. And you said it is beneath us to explain the true definition of woke to the sleep mom. Okay, and I'm tired of explaining because these people be up in here slow. I don't say I know it all. I know enough. I'm always learning. And you said, damn, and I thought I had my own opinion. Well, you should have your own opinion. That's the one thing. I welcome everybody having differences of opinion. Carnage Candy out the bit. He said his passport needs to be revoked. Well, I'm gonna say, why wouldn't it be? I mean, I don't think they're trying to prevent him from traveling to other countries or other continents or other places. He can still travel other places. He just can't come back to Singapore. I am full screen if you actually watch it on the if you watch it on the other thing. But for some reason, I gotta wait until the show is done and start cutting. I mean, deleting some of the things because I don't know. YouTube is weird. When I be creating like the headlines and stuff, maybe I'm gonna have to do that afterwards because this is getting annoying with this new setup. Whenever I was creating something, they were like, "Oh, you probably have a number or a symbol or whatever in there," and YouTube won't allow it. So I'm sitting there trying to clean up the headline, fixing and everything. And what I realized, because I'm looking at it now, is literally created 7 windows on YouTube for this episode. And so I gotta wait until the show is done and then delete all the windows that are sent to my upcoming, 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 and then leave the segments that we doing now. And no, it's a freaking headache. It's a freaking headache. It's annoying. So it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Hold on, I should not be checking my I'm sitting there looking at this stuff over on YouTube. But because I'm like just opening up on the Kyle Kalinske videos I'm gonna have to watch later. I was like, I hope nobody heard that, but y'all probably did. Anyway, let's get back into the thing. Did you cover the story about Ginger lying about them doing the battle cry? I didn't hear anything about that. Where's that story about Ginger lying? Oh, maybe I did see something regarding drag teaser with Matt, but sometimes he annoys me because it feels like you just regurgitating shit that I've already heard. So a lot of times I bypass this show. Speaking of which, and shows, did y'all see that episode of Matt Cullen? He did a video of damn, I forgot the guy's name that actually gives injections in guys' penises and does like booty hole rejuvenation. He had Boomer Banks on there. And he was getting a little too excited. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's so big." And I'm like, "We know Boomer Banks got a big old dick. We've all seen it." But I mean, I've seen it in person, but but we've all seen it. And he getting a little too excited. I said, "Child, what's Sloan gonna feel? I mean, how Sloan gonna take all that? You getting a little too excited, looking at all that Mexican peen." And I'm sitting there like, "Why are you making your penis bigger? You already have an enlarged dick." But it's this thing in their mind, and I've read the comments. The comments they was going in. Oh, you sitting up here promoting all this vanity. Look, people can do whatever the fuck they want to do with their money. I don't know why people get mad over people doing whatever. That this guy had like what do you call them, like fissures or whatever in his booty hole. I was like, child, maybe Porfy need to go and talk to him because I know with all that wear and tear he was taking from them enlarged dinglings, not from when he was in a relationship with fitness probably he ain't had to worry about that, but all them other male models that were ginormous that was gutting him out because that was his bread and butter. um Now he's like he had to get some things fixed back there, but he was someone that he does that he helps fix the little situations without you having to get surgery unless the damage has been so much done that you need to get a little nip and tuck and things back there. But some people said it helps loosen up the hole when you tight. I don't know if I would ever get something done like that, but I was like, why would you want your penis to be bigger? And it's like you already have a big penis. And he was sitting there like he wants it because he looks at other people's genitals and it and he measures himself. So I said, okay, that's is there a thing do because we have body dysmorphia. Is there a thing called dick dysmorphia? Like, do people sit up here and have like this thing where they think like their genitals is not big, so they feel like they have to throw money into it? And that shit is not cheap. When he was talking about how like you getting that type of stuff done, it costs between I think he said like $10,000 because of the syringes. And then there was some guy that says he does the same thing in Europe, and he's like, you can get syringes for much cheaper. But the way this country is with these goddamn tariffs, I do not know if I necessarily believe it, but it was a fascinating video because I was like, I heard of the guy. I forgot what his name is something, but he has the same name as me. But he does like the cosmetic procedures for guys who get like injections in their peen to make it bigger. If you got a micro penis, you assed out. It's not really gonna help. But if you got if you got a little extra something between me down there, I was sitting there like, would I ever want to do that to make it? But then again, the bottoms don't complain. So why would I cause something to be meteor when it's already I know it's TMI, but it's it's a bit meteor already. So I don't need to add a little more girth to the situation. Because they was talking about like with gay men, they were like somebody was saying, even Boomer was saying he prefers girth. And some people, I thought you like both. I thought you like length and girth. I don't know about length. Girth, I feel like is much better because you getting up in there and they feeling it, and it's like they want that thickness. But if it's long, it's like you got a pencil dick in you. And some people, from what I've heard from bottoms, say that they complain because it's painful when you have it's long and skinny. If it's long and it's thick, that's like the icing on the cake. And that's the end of homosexual peen talk for now. I saw a compilation of his antics on Twitter. The way he slammed on a riser when security grabbed his leg for the antics of a chain. Oh yeah, that's another one. I forgot who it was too. It was like the Chainsmokers concert should have made him stop then. Yes, what I said. It was like they don't learn their lesson. He realized he gets over the attention. Like what Felix said, they like the attention. It's the same thing like with that content creator. I forgot his name. The one that told me he can go to jail for a federal crime because they found drugs and stuff in his car because he pulled off on the side of the road. He was in the middle of the road doing content. And then he got arrested. He got out of jail. He was mocking the police and talking about, yeah, I'm free. All this other. So they like all that attention. They put on this facade. They perform. They do all this crazy stuff. And they know that by doing all this, they get rewarded for bad behavior, not realizing there's consequences to this. You say Kirk and Rotten Hell. While his wife hunches Miss JD. Well, I think she kind of based off of no people like I feel like she moved on from that. Now she on her next grift. But yeah, they didn't sustain the whole situation with her and then also hugging up on Jesse Waters, which we already know he's a serial cheater. He cheated on his last wife with one of the women that work at Fox News. So I don't know why people surprised. Not best dog. LOL better. Well, yeah. Indy out here serving charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and yes, he served all of that. And then so you said, I cry myself to sleep thinking about my interpretation of the movie about how a dog experiences human declining health and eventual death without being able. Yeah, that was another thing too. It's like that movie was sad because it's literally like the dog is seeing all these things happen. The grandfather, he went back to the house because he was sick. So he went and left the apartment because, the girl, I think, what was that? His sister found him with the blood coming out of him and they had to rush him to the hospital. And then after he got out of the hospital, she was watching Indy. They go to the grandfather's old house where he actually passed away. And then it was like Indy starting to see all these spirits or whatever. And he's trying to protect his owner. And the owner is dying and they want to go through the trials and stuff of helping him with this. I'm assuming it was cancer because I don't feel like they said what it was that he was sick from. Or maybe I wasn't paying attention. And then, because I was in the middle of doing like some work and stuff while I was on the computer while I was watching the movie. Because it was moving, it was like slow pace. So I was like, okay, I can kind of like keep my eye on the film while I'm doing work. Once I understood the tone, once I got into the tone of the movie, and that was like 30 minutes, and I was like, okay, I kind of got the tone. I can get back to actually doing some work. So, he and then seeing the dog, it's like, yeah, then it kind of makes you wonder because it's like, yeah, dogs they can't talk, all they do is bark. They try to do the things that help you out, and then the owner is kind of pushing you away, whatever the case is. And it is that moment of when you're at the point of view. That's why I like with the camera shots, it was always at the level of the dog. So it's sort of like we're kind of looking up or we're on that level of understanding based on the way they were shooting the film that this is the point of view of the dog, and we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the four legs of this dog. That's why I said shoes plural, because dogs got four legs. So when you sit in that and it's like dealing with that, I was like, this is a really unique take on a POV of a dog in a horror movie and spirits and things happening and you know, the fact that you're feeling helpless. Yeah, you did tell me that. Now that's a bit much. 5 times. But we already know there's gonna be people out here who just love this movie, regardless of what people are gonna say. And I always say, look, it's subjective. You like what you like. Mhm. Well, Whitney's dead. Tony's on Lifetime doing movies based on her song titles. And Patty LaBelle don't really be acting that much. Like the only thing I remember, like Patty did little things here and there, but for the most part, I remember her when she played Kadeem Hardison mother on A Different World. That's what I mostly know her from. Oh yeah, and Tina Turner, she had a career, but she didn't really like stick with the whole acting thing. He said not he said not to spell some Buddha. I said, you're not putting that curse on this damn show. Wait, well, I was like, what happened? He said, that sounds like 20 years ago, back alley silicon. Not Boomer Banks getting. Mhm. No, it is temporary. That's why he keeps doing it. Because I remember he was talking about doing like I knew about his dick filler that he was getting long before he did this episode of Matt Cullen's podcast. It's on his YouTube, Matt Cullen's YouTube channel. If y'all want to check it out, he dropped it yesterday, and I was sending it to everybody. I was like, "Did y'all see?" I was sending it to all my friends, whatever. And one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, I did see this in scrolling, but I was curious about it. Now I'm gonna watch it." And it was like that overall. I said, "Yeah, that's crazy. It's you getting injection, like you're getting. I guess it's called. Well, I forgot what they call the Botox for the booty hole. Well, there's anal tox. I'm gonna call it bussy tox because that's basically what it. Bussy tox. That sounds like a much cuter name to call something where you getting a tube. Because that he showed it. Like you literally have the whole head. You have the tube, and he sticks it in, and then he takes the needle and he puts it in the tube. And then while you on your side or whatever, you holding your, you parting the flesh. See, that's what I'm gonna call a flesh C because it's like the booty cheeks. Anyway, and then you stick the thing in, and they do the injection and all other stuff. And it was some of that you definitely feel it versus like in the like when you get the Botox in the face, it takes a minute. And I said, yeah, because it's similar to like with. And I know y'all probably maybe y'all do know about it, maybe you don't. But there's people out here who actually will dip alcohol in things or shoot alcohol like liquor. I think they've gone as far as doing rubber alcohol, which is crazy. But liquor, how they take it and inject it in the anus, or some women do it in the vagina. There's nothing there to suck up the liquor, so you're gonna get drunker faster. That's why they do it that way. Versus you drinking, like taking, drinking the alcohol. You have because it has to surpass a bunch of things and break it. Excuse me, it has to be broken down before you can even feel, you know, drunk. But yeah, I remember Boomer Banks was always talking about that. He posted on, I think, on his social media or whatever. But he must make a good amount of money because he don't do adult cinematography anymore. He says that's not his bread and butter. Now it's DJing. They must pay real good money for him to DJ, for him to be able to afford getting those injections. Because that's $10,000. $10,000 is a lot of money to be injecting your penis. It's like being that's a lot of money you putting into your dick to make it big. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You said it's gonna be $5 added tariffs for the Kylie Minogue calendar, and I had to tell my friend, look for the email. You'll have to pay it before it ships. This whole tariffs thing is so stupid. I did see that story, but I didn't get around to reading it. What kind of water is that? Oh, this is Wesley Farms sweetened, naturally flavored cranberry raspberry sparkling water. So yeah, every now and again I do the sparkling waters. Well, I have to do that because I be craving soda, and sparkling water definitely helps crave that thirst because I need to lay off the. Well, I don't drink soda. I mean, I don't. Well, that's a lie. I was gonna say I don't drink soda. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say like I need to not be drinking soda. So I always try to substitute it with the thing. Yes, it's temporary, which means you have to keep getting it done. Because like everything else, it dissolves. Kind of like with I like. Oh, you saying you like his channel, not booty beer, booty tots. Is what you mean. But anyway, let's get back into the show because we damn near an hour in. I only did one topic. But that Wicked one was a long one. And then on top of that, I like to get to y'all comments. So whatever. We don't sit up here and worry about time on this show. So let's get into the next team. Let's talk about Gal Gadot, because apparently she's running around here talking about that even though the movie Wicked, even though that Snow White movie flopped at the box office, none of y'all cared. She up in here did a recent interview and said that she's down for wanting to play the evil queen again, even though people were saying she wasn't even that good playing the part. Quiet as it's kept. When has Gal Gadot ever been good at playing anything as an actor? Oh wait, the first Wonder Woman. Which goes to show it was a fluke, because once we saw 1984, we already came to the conclusion she's a terrible actress. Kelly, no. So anyway, according to comic book movie, Gal Gadot, best known for portraying Wonder Woman in the DCEU, made her way into Disney's fairy tale world with the 2025 Snow White live-action adaptation directed by Mark Webb. The actress portrayed the evil queen opposite Rachel Zegler, who brought to life the film's titular character. Sidebar, shout out to Rachel Zegler, because there's supposed to be this fundraiser dinner thing that's supposed to be going on. I did see somebody that I know that's working behind the scenes on that for Zoran Mamdani. So she's basically going to be a part. I think she's on the chair of that. So shout out to her. Um, so they said, unfortunately, upon release, Snow White failed to make an impact both critically and financially. The movie secured a 39% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes and made 205 million worldwide against a reported 270 million budget. So if you're not really good at math, that means it flopped because it didn't even make back its money plus the amount of money that went into the marketing. Because I'm sure that they spent like over $100 million on the marketing. So that means that if the budget is 270 million, I'm assuming they would probably had to make 500 to 600 million to even break even. Or maybe more. Now, given such results, the film is unlikely to get any sequels or spin-offs anytime soon. However, one actor would be willing to step back into the world is Gal Gadot. The actress recently received the Hollywood Icon Award at the Women's Guild Cedar Sinai Snowball Gala. And I think it's because she had like a brain situation that went on while she was pregnant with her fourth child. But what that got to do with her winning the Hollywood Icon Award, because what iconic is about this Zionist, I'll wait. Now, speaking to Us Weekly, Gadudu stated she loved to step back into the crown of the evil queen for a potential spinoff, saying, I'm not even going to mock her with the accent. So I was going to be like, I would love to do that. Yes, tell Disney CEO Bob Iger, Bob, I'll do that. Well, of course, girl, slim pickings with you when it comes to acting. So if anybody's going to give you an opportunity to be in a screen and do a movie, she going to take it. The least you could do is actually take the time to get you a damn coach and teach you how to actually conjure an emotion instead of just standing there looking pretty. I mean, if you need to come across as like you want to be the action girl, just think back to your IDF days when you was going around allegedly, killing brown children that aren't Jewish or from Israel. Now, it's unlikely for the actors to return given the project's aforementioned disappointing financial returns. Snow White's failure was an interesting case. Now, while there was a time when it looked like it had a chance of enjoying the same success as some of Disney's previous live action retellings, such as Maleficent and 2016's Jungle Book, that ended up not being the case. Now, in August of 2025, Gadudu gave an interview on the Israeli TV show The A Talks. It's a horrible name for a show. The A Talks via the Hollywood Reporter. This is where that came from. Now, where she stated she was under the impression the movie would be a success. She said, I really enjoyed filming that movie. I really had fun, even working alongside Rachel Zegler. We laughed and we talked. We had fun. I was positive the movie was going to be a huge hit. But then she went on to blame, which she then ended up walking back. But it's like, girl, you said what you said, now stand on it. She went and blamed Snow White's box office struggles on expectations regarding the actor's responses about Israel. And then she said, and then October 7th happened, and what happened all over in different industries, not just Hollywood. There was a lot of pressure put on celebrities, actors, creators to post against Israel. And it happened. I can always explain and try to give people in the world context about the situation and the reality in Israel. And I always do that. But at the end, people make up their own minds. And I was disappointed that the movie was incredibly affected by all of that and it didn't do well at the box office. But it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. Well, sis, first of all, you're full of shit. I ain't gonna say you a POS because I don't know you, but you're full of shit. Number one, you said that, yeah, I can give people in the world context about the situation, what's going on in Israel. You mean that Israel's going around using a lot of American taxpayer dollars to kill innocent civilians in Gaza, and this is all about trying to occupy the world, the West Bank. I mean, it all started under the Biden administration, but when you have someone like Miriam Adelson, who's basically giving her husband's money because he's dead, when she's giving over $200 million to Donald Trump so they can continue to do the travesties of what they're doing and get away with it, when we're watching a genocide happen in real time, where are y'all the victim in this? Because last time I checked, when there's a conflict and there's a war, it's two-sided. It seems to me when we've been watching this genocide happen in real time, because that's what it is, we've been watching one side pretty much go in, shooting innocent people, men, women, and children. There was even one where I saw that there were IDF soldiers shooting, like picking. They would go and pick targets on people's bodies of where they was going to shoot. So yeah, they would even shoot you in the genitals. When we've seen that, they would shoot you in the testicles. There's actual reports of this coming out that have come out. I can't say coming; it came out months ago. Like I've been paying attention and keeping track of all of this stuff that's been coming over the years. So you can't sit up here and try to play victim and make it seem like that was the only thing. I believe that the reason why this movie failed, that was partially it because there were people that were protesting because of your history. Yes, you were an IDF soldier. So of course, before you became an actress, so of course you're going to align yourself with Zionism and that whole situation over there, where y'all feel like y'all the superior race, where you feel like that your lives are the only ones that matter over everyone else's, and this is what Zionists believe. It's historically proven and it's out there. Google is your friend. If you don't believe me, I'm not sitting up here. And then just because there are people that believe in that does not mean that you are anti-Semitic, or people that call it out, I should say, are not anti-Semitic, because there's not an anti-Semitic bone in my body. I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I know, like, when you say stuff like that, well, that's like the equivalent of saying some of my best friends is black, but then you say something racist. No, I call out all sides. I don't give a damn. So, um, to me, she definitely has Zionist ideologies, and the fact of the matter is that she's being called out for it because a lot of them are pissed, especially that's why they're trying to take over places like TikTok and all these other things, is because there were people out here who were reporting on these stories. There were people that were showing what was going on in Gaza, these innocent people that are being killed. It was all over my Instagram feed as well, where I was seeing a lot of these censored videos of kids like with their heads blown open and parents carrying their body. Like I'm literally watching all this as it was happening over the last 2 years. So when you want to sit up here and make it say, oh yeah, it happened October 7th. No, this has been going on for a long time. It's just the fact of the matter is y'all, people like her, hate the fact that we have something called social media, because y'all were able to lie to us when it was y'all had control over linear legacy corporate media. Now that it's social media, because social media, you can get things out a whole lot faster. You can cut through the red tape. You can find ways of getting things out there. And once it's out there, it's out there. People can share it. So you could delete whatever or try to suppress the video. There will always be ways that people could find a way to push that narrative further out there for people to see. And that was pretty much what was happening. And they hate the fact that they no longer control the narrative. So that's why they try to perpetuate these lies and propaganda, saying, oh, these young people are confused, or they're out here getting misinformation, or TikTok is now dangerous because they're posting these things that aren't true. No, y'all were able to control the narrative. Y'all hate the fact that y'all no longer have control over the narrative in regards of what you want people, especially American people who are seeing a genocide happen in real time. Y'all don't want us to have an opinion on this. Y'all want us to still be, our head in the clouds, wearing rose-colored glasses, and just, excuse me, believing what the talking points that you wanted us to believe. And we've woken up, and I think a lot of the younger generations coming up have woken up, including younger Jewish Americans who are seeing this and are against the atrocities of what Israel's doing. There's even people over in Israel that are pissed off with this whole genocide. So I don't lump everybody in one sum. There are people out here, and I've seen in New York, there have been a lot of Jewish people who have been protesting against the genocide that's been happening. So I'm not going to sit up here and try to say that they all think like that, because I don't look at everybody as a monolith. I take people on how they come across individually. So yeah, after all of that, what she said, she did what I told her. She walked back the comments on her IG story, saying that her response had come from an emotional place. Well, maybe the problem with a lot of y'all is y'all need to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking logically. It's like you could put emotion and passion into what you say, but you have to come from a place of understanding. Logic goes a lot further than emotion. First of all, feelings are not facts. So that's what people need to learn in that situation as well. So she went on to say, I was honored to join an extraordinary interview with inspiring interviewers whose questions go straight to the heart. Sometimes we respond to questions from an emotional place. When the film came out, I felt like those who are against Israel criticized me in a very personal, almost visceral way. But maybe there was some truth to that. But also, she needs to realize is that you were on a show in your home country of Israel. So we already know the type of narrative and the type of questions that y'all gonna ask amongst each other, because y'all gonna be pro, especially if the corporations own the show or whatever the case is, where those type of stories is coming. We see it in our legacy media, where a lot of, especially if you watch trash ass shows like The View, how they definitely try to take on this whole the Zionist pro Israel talking points, especially when they had Zoran Mamdani on the show. The way they were trying to paint him. Well, guess what, bitches? He's your mayor. Now you got to deal with it. And how when Andrew Cuomo came on, which child, I just heard the latest news regarding this client. He really does not know. See, now this is how I was like, I feel for those women that were assaulted by him, because this is a man that does not understand that no means no. He's still trying to jump back into politics after getting his ass whipped not once but twice by Zoran Mamdani. Now he told me that he wants to succeed. He wants Chuck Schumer's position. Who's voting for you? It's like, we didn't want your ass as mayor. You think we want you as like the head Senate, the head of the Senate on the Democratic side? No. We already know, based off of the way you ran your campaign, who you were cooked to. So we don't want it. The Democratic Tea Party is here. The old days of the way Democrats was trying to run shit in politics with all of this, we bow down to our corporate donors like APAC, and was like, nope, those days are done. We don't want it. People have woken up. A lot of people have unplugged for the Matrix, and you're about to get another rude awakening. Not only so he must be into what they said. He must be a masochist. I think he likes pain. And a lot of these men in power, they do. They like a lot of these people that be in power, quiet as is kept. They like things put in their butt. They like they like going to the dominatrix. They like all of that mess. And to me, I'm low key starting to think that Andrew Cuomo likes getting his ass beat behind the scenes, probably in the bedroom, and in politics. So to wrap all this story up, gal, gadoo, it is a chop. Nobody wants you back as the queen of the evil queen, the queen of England, the Cleopatra. Because remember, at one point she was supposed to play her too. And that movie, I don't know what happened to that, but I think it was outrage because it was like, how y'all got this lady trying to play Cleopatra? She's not a woman of color, but here y'all go trying to make a white woman play Cleopatra again. We already had that with Elizabeth Taylor. Came out with that 4-hour damn movie. Now y'all trying to do it again with this lady. We don't want it. Find somebody that's brown that could play her. But anyway, so yeah, that's the latest on this story. I definitely want to hear from y'all. So whatever your thoughts are in regards of, would you like to see this lady play the evil queen yet again? But I'm like, look, nobody liked the last movie. The movie wasn't good. And it wasn't just the whole Israel thing that had to do with it. It just wasn't a good movie. It was the horrible special effects. It was some of the acting up in there, some of the decisions y'all were making regarding that movie, people just weren't here for. So there's a lot of things that was at play to why Snow White flopped at the box office. And so it's easier to sit up in here and play the victim and do the whole, oh, it's because of people's opinions about Israel. I think it's way more. It's much more than that. It's multi-layered. But some of these people out here, They're about as deep as a damn pond. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You said her sorry ass can't act. She needs to play that thing on. Shut up. He said she is a terrible actress. And that's the thing too. Is like, I mean, I definitely I didn't mind her when she was in the Fast and the Furious movies because like she just there to be pretty and do action sequences. Um, yeah, so she's like a supporting actor or character. I don't mind her as much, but as a lead, no. That's what I said. Icon for what? A new Gallup poll: 100% among Democrats and independent voters, American pride is dead. They don't like their country. While it's 32% has a well, that's one of the articles I did read. They said that women are pretty much tired of America and they're looking at leaving the country. That women have had it with all this mess that's going on. You think men are upset over the fact that they've been feeling neglected, which is why they voted for Trump. Women are feeling like, yeah, this is not a country for me anymore. I mean, there's no, what is to be proud of in this country when you start taking away everything? It's kind of like even when they was talking about like when you start taking away everything of the American people, when you start taking away their toys and you take away their food, oh, what's the problem? You try to starve American people. So that kind of took the mask off, and people saw him for what he was. Now he's trying to hide behind Zoran at the White House, talking about, oh yeah, he and I have a lot in common. He was going to this whole love fest. If he could have Zoran sit on his face while he was doing that press conference, I guarantee you, he would have loved to have done that. I mean, quiet as it's kept, I wouldn't have minded him doing that to me. But it's like, okay, so, sis, calm down. And you know why he couldn't stand up from behind that desk? It's them damn swollen ankles, them cankles. What about Ukraine and the people in Nigeria? No one even cares. Well, that's not true because I did a whole thing on Nigeria the other day. We're talking about Nicki Minaj, and there was somebody in the comments who tried to. Well, when I did the post, when I did the clip, and I put it up on the channel, somebody came in the comments who was trying to come for me in regards of damn. Now let me go find it because she kind of pissed me off, and I was like, "Bitch, tell me you didn't watch like you didn't watch the clip." Basically, by how you responded. I said, let me turn the volume down because now it's like I gotta look for the damn video. Oh, I see myself live. Is you live? Hold on. Okay, so um somebody said for no reason whatsoever there are almost no Christians in Muslim countries. Absolutely random. I mean, there's Christians and Muslims that exist in Nigeria. Um Somebody says she should be discussing Sudan or at the very least the Congo. Black people are being used like rags, butt brain reinforcing nonsense. And I was like, or better yet, her home island of Trinidad. Two Trinidadian men, Chad Joseph and Rishi Samaru, were killed in a U.S. military airstrike on a boat off the coast of Venezuela in October 2025. She should be discussing that than worrying about what's going on in Nigeria. But I guess people didn't. Then one person said, I don't care. The same person, they said, I don't care why she's speaking up. I'm happy someone is. And I'm like, well, maybe she should care why they're speaking up, and especially when it's about a subject they know nothing about. You can't just randomly come out here and just speak up on something and you don't have the vernacular to speak up on things. And this is why I was saying, like, between her and dumbass Pharrell, who sits up here and talking about he don't like DEI, whatever. Like, sir, if it wasn't for DEI, your ass would not be running Louis Vuitton. Trust and believe, especially how vehemently racist the fashion industry is. You got that job because you are able to throw some clothes together and look cute while you out here making little futuristic music. So we're not going to sit up in here and try to act like that you have the wherewithal to do fashion like a Virgil Abloh or somebody like that. Because you don't. So the same person was like, "Do you know what you are talking back?" First of all, that's not. I would think you would say talking about. are you really going to dismiss the slaughter of a whole group of people because you disagree with the politics? And I said, did you even watch the video, or are you just responding to the headline? I'm going to go with the latter. So how you going to sit up here and about because I disagree with somebody's politics, that do I even know what I'm talking about? Like, you sound dumb. If you actually watch the video, I think I explained enough of how I felt on the situation. But you can't argue with stupid, apparently. So, wait, hold on. Because I forgot. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even charge my phone. So anyway, so yeah, I've been talking about those things on the show. Play, you basically had TikTok accounts banned for making fun of your acting. Oh, did she? You said she had. Well, oh yeah, you're right, because remember when I played the little montage of her bad acting on I played it on I posted it on the social media platforms because I got it from TikTok. Yeah, she was getting mad over that. I was like, bitch, it ain't our fault you can't act. Look, when there was some actors out there who was not the greatest actors, they got training. Will Smith didn't start out as a great actor when he first started, but he got better because he he put into, he put in the work. Same thing with Dave Bautista wasn't that great of an actor. Dwayne Johnson was not a good actor at one point, but he took classes. That's what you do. She over there relying on being pretty. It's kind of like what they say on RuPaul's Drag Race. Stop relying on that body. You need to stop relying on your looks. Thinking that's gonna be because you tall and you pretty. That's supposed to be enough. Beautiful women are a dime a dozen in Hollywood. And it seems the House of Reps is in for a rude awakening. I heard Democrats might take majority. They're going to leave after the pension clears. I hope for Mike Johnson. Well, Moses Mike Grinder Johnson definitely needs to be kicked out of that damn job. Oh, this is a disaster. Me seeing the Zootopia too? No. But he has a gay mother, so he's a part of, he's by proxy a part of the community. That's why he's always so defensive of the queer community, because he has a lesbian mother. But anyway, let's get back to the show and let's talk about Scream 7. So Rose McGowan recently did an interview where she is responding to the fact that in the new film there is a character that is Sidney Prescott's daughter. And this is why I'm confused, and I really hope that they explain this in this film, that in Scream 5, which was just called Scream, Sidney had two kids. We've only seen the one, so they need to explain what happened to the other child in this movie, because she's supposed to have more than one kid. But nevertheless, one of the kids that we see in the trailer, played by Isabel May, there was always rumors about her being one of the characters, or Sydney's daughter was going to be named Tatum after Tatum Riley, who was Rose McGowan's character and Dewey's sister in the original Scream movie, where she got her head crushed in the garage door. That's such an iconic scene. But nevertheless, please, Mr. Ghostface, I want to be in the sequel. So anyway, so yeah, so she basically did a recent interview, and it was called Scream Obsessed, and she opened up about the tribute. She said, "Sitting naming her baby Tatum, it's making my heart happy, and I know it's made many others happy. It feels right and good. This Tatum lives." She winks. "I think Scream is one of the greatest fandoms in the world. I know I'm biased, but I believe this is true." Nev Campbell, as y'all know, returned as Sydney with Isabel May as Tatum Prescott in Scream 7 in theaters February 27th via Paramount. Now, in the latest installment of the slasher saga, basically the synopsis is: when a new Ghostface killer emerges in the quiet town where Sidney Prescott has built a new life, her darkest fears are realized as her daughter becomes the next target. Determined to protect her family, Sidney must face the horrors of her past to put an end to the bloodshed once and for all. So I'm definitely curious enough to hear like what this whole plot thing is about. I know there's been things that have been leaking online, but they've been showing different things. And with Scream, they film like so many different versions of this thing. So we don't even know what we're going to get when this movie comes out. So I'm going to just wait until open week. I've been doing a good job so far, bobbing and weaving and dodging all the little rumors coming out regarding how Stu is utilized in the film and who Ghostface might be, whatever the case is. I'm definitely curious. I'm one of those that's good at like trying to hold out and not want to be spoiled or surprised, whatever. Because like they said, until the final cut is released, we don't know how this movie's going to turn out. So Scream has always been that way. Unless you get a whole situation where the script leaks in its entirety before the movie comes out, which has happened before. It happened with, I think, what was it, Scream 2? I think that happened. And then they had to go in and make some last minute changes. So I like this idea because it was like, look, I love the original. I like all the Scream movies. That I have some of them are like, but for the most part, the original Scream will always be iconic. I love Rose McGowan's character. She was very sassy, very much mouthy. I love that how she was there for her best friend, Sidney, when she was going through her things. She was trying to encourage her to kind of go out and loosen up and live a little, especially after her mother was murdered. And then she ends up getting her head smashed at the garage door. Who actually killed her? Was it Stu actually ended up killing? I'm thinking it was her. I mean, I think it was Stu, right? Because wait, no, it was Billy Loomis, I think. Because who was it that came when they came to the door and they went, "Hmm," and then they went did the face like, okay, it's done. Like that's basically why I got it from the. So I think it was Billy that ended up killing her. Because remember, Stu was in the house, but I'll be right back, going to get the alcohol and trying to get something with him. But so I don't think Stu did it. I think it was Billy that ended up killing. I could be wrong, but let me know in the comments. But I do think because it's been a minute since I've seen the original film. If I'm not mistaken, it was that. But anyway, I'm harping a little too much on this. I am looking forward to this new movie. I do think it's a really cool idea. When I first heard about it, I was sitting there like, yeah, it's definitely a great nod to the franchise that Sydney would name one of her kids after her best friend because Tatum was such a significant part of the Scream franchise and people love that character. And unfortunately, she had to go because, you got to kill people off. Can't keep everybody around. I'm still mad y'all killed off Dewey, though. But you know, um, Tatum is definitely, a pivotal part of our lives, and we'll see how this new Tatum fares. Keep, passing on that legacy of having that name in the upcoming Scream film and future ones, should she survive. And I wouldn't think that she wouldn't survive. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding Rose McGowan speaking out about Sidney Prescott's daughter Tatum being named after her character in the upcoming Scream 7 film? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, so now it's a excuse me for being late. I was not you watching Gilmore Girls. I said Magical Mermaid is here in the building. All right. All right, y'all. So now let's go from one spyglass movie to another. And let's talk about Thanksgiving. So it's been a minute since we've heard about what's going on with Thanksgiving too. I thought that they would have been filming it by now and it would have been out. Didn't they say like this year, maybe next year, whatever the case is? So Eli Roth recently did an interview and he's speaking out about what is the update on this film, which since they take it so damn long, now I'm starting to think Patrick Dempsey could have appeared in this new film as Sydney's husband. But then again, they would say, oh, because it was some personal stuff he had to deal with, and it was Thanksgiving 2 was the reason. And they were supposed to film that immediately right after, like back to back from like with Scream 7 was being filmed, and then they were supposed to go in a couple of months. Like in the springtime of this year, they were supposed to film Thanksgiving 2. Then nothing happened. We didn't hear anything about it. Well, we have to think about two things. Number one, Patrick Dempsey's schedule, whatever the case was. So they thought it was going to kind of overlap with the whole Scream thing, hence why I guess he didn't come back. But then again, I'm starting to wonder because I think that Joel McHale, who plays Sydney's husband, Mark Webb, I think is his last name, not Kincaid, in this film, and he's playing a cop. That and in the trailer, it gives it away that he pretty much gets stabbed up by uh Ghostface. No word on whether or not he survives, but based on them shots y'all showed us, I'm pretty much thinking he's gonna bite the bullet. Well, there's no bullets that's going to be used to take his life, but you know what I mean. So, um, maybe Patrick was like, I don't want to get killed. I don't want to come up in this movie only end up getting killed off. Like, does it make sense? Whatever. So I guess they just want to have like sitting with a disposable husband or whatever. Or maybe they'll just mention like, you know what? She was married to the other Mark, and then they divorced, and she ended up marrying another Mark. We'll find that out when the movie comes out. But nevertheless, um, and also Addison Rae, we forgot about her. So her music career has currently taken off. She's focusing a lot on promoting her latest album, which I will say, Addison Rae's album is actually pretty good. So in that context, Eli Roth went and gave a little tea. He went on Chris Jericho's podcast called Talk is Jericho. And he went and said that with Thanksgiving too, we're doing some polishes on the script. He said there was a kind of second act issue that Jeff and I were having. We just kept going around circles trying to figure out how to get through it. And then actually another writer team had a really good idea, and we're like, oh, let's let them come in and take a pass, because I think we've been kind of had our noses in it for 2 years, right? They love the franchise. They're like, we don't want to change it. We love it. You guys have a brilliant sequel, but we think that we can wait. Okay, first of all, just Jared. Y'all are racking my brain with how bad a lot of the writing is in this, because it's not making logical sense. So let me paraphrase basically. The new Eli and his writing partner were having problems coming up with the third act in the whole situation. They had a pretty good, strong first and second act. Third act, they were trying to find a way to make it work. Couldn't make it work. Another writer came in and was like, you know what? We have an idea, and we're going to come in and tackle it. So basically, long story short, he let them come in, tackle the third act. They're happy with everything they have, and he has no problem. He's saying like, I have no issue collaborating with people with outside views, but his theory has always been best idea wins. And so I like that idea. It's like, if I'm stuck, if I have writer's block and and I'm like, yeah, we got a pretty good situation, but now I'm having a hard time driving this story, home, or hitting the ball out of the park, giving it a home, hitting a home run or whatever you want to call it. Like, if I'm having a hard time doing that, then yeah, I'm gonna see if like, okay, so read the script, give me an idea. Do you have any ideas you want to kind of tackle and bring in? And then you can pretty much, I'll let you just write the third act. And if I like what you wrote, then I'll offer some, if we'll keep it. Maybe I'll add a little bit of my isms in there. Like, there's some extra stuff I want to add in to kind of fatten, you know, the situation. It's a collaborative effort, because making movies, music, whatever you want to call it, if you're creating, it's a collaborative effort. Like, you shouldn't, I don't feel like people should be stubborn in a way. It's like, well, I want to do it myself. I don't want other people coming in and helping me and blah, 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 and that whole situation. Because I hate when people are like that. It's like, okay, if you got an idea, um, I'm all ears. And if you got a good idea, let's go with it. And like they said, best idea wins. So he said the plan is for the script to get done this year, and then for us to prep in the spring. I want to shoot it in the spring, and that'll be a studio movie. He went on to say. So the idea for them is to, as he said, film the movie this spring. Script is done. Have the movie come out in the spring, or start shooting in the spring. It doesn't take long to shoot a horror movie. Like, you could do a slash movie in like 2 months, maybe less, depending on what the budget is and how long they're actually giving you to film the movie. And then you just come in and do what you got to do, and then have everything edited, all the other stuff done in post. And who knows, maybe if the movie is done in the spring, we could have this movie in theaters by Thanksgiving 2026. I mean, that would be the smart thing to do, instead of y'all trying to release it in damn 2027. Like, that's way too long for us to wait. I'm already kind of irritated the fact that they had Scream 7 done for so long before now we got to wait until February for the movie. I mean, now it's just like, what, a month and some change away. So it's not that far off with that we got to wait for Scream 7. It's like, what, 16, 17 more weeks? So, but in the beginning, I'm like, okay, y'all been had this movie done. Why we got to wait so long? Like, y'all should have released this in October. That would have been a good damn time, because October was such a horrible month for movies, horror movies included, but movies in general. Like, October was a bad month in 2026 or 2025. So I'm definitely, as much as Eli Roth is usually more missed than hit for me. Like I like the first two Hostel movies. I liked Cabin Fever. There's been a couple of movies he's done post that I haven't really been excited about. And yes, Thanksgiving was not a perfect movie, but I had fun with it. I enjoyed a lot of the kills and all the other stuff. Speaking of which, who knows? Well, Thanksgiving is this week. That's why I brought up the story. If you want to understand the overall reason why I'm bringing up this story, but yeah, Thanksgiving is this week. It's in like 3 days, so I might actually watch the movie again this week because it'll be like Halloween, a tradition. Every Thanksgiving you watch Thanksgiving. Every Halloween you watch Halloween, or the many Halloween movies. If you want to do the whole marathon of all the different multiverses of Halloween that they've done. But like I said, I'll be definitely checking this movie out when it comes out. Regardless, I have my trepidations when it comes to Eli, but for the most part, I do relatively like the Thanksgiving films. It had more going for it than it didn't, but it's not a perfect film. Here's hoping, based off of him talking on this podcast about this film, that you elevate Thanksgiving 2 more so than you did with Thanksgiving 1. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you excited for a new Thanksgiving movie? And are you even a fan of the franchise? So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Not the red shoes. Well, if that's pertaining to Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, they didn't even have her wearing red shoes in the movie. Why was her shoes a different color? Where was the ruby slippers? I was like, you would. The human turkey, if you know your oh yeah, that was funny. That human turkey scene was hilarious. I'm not, and funny enough, I'm not even a big turkey fan. Like I already told people, I don't even know if I told y'all. I said for Thanksgiving this week, I'm just gonna marinate me a whole chicken, and that's what I'm eating. I'm not even doing a turkey. I don't like turkey. I'm not a big fan of turkey, so I got me a hen, me henny. I got me a hen, and that's that. That's what's gonna do. All right, so now let's go from Thanksgiving to summer camp. And let's talk about sleepaway camps. I don't know if y'all heard, but there is a sleepaway camp remake coming from the original writer director Robert Hiltzik. He has announced on his social media that he has completed the script for the movie, which should be relatively interesting because here's the thing. I don't know if I told y'all, maybe I did, but like last year, they did a anniversary screening with the original 35 millimeter print at the IFC Theater in the West Village. So I actually went down there. The director was there. They did a Q&A afterwards. It was a packed house, and there was some trans women that were there that were having the conversation. So I know a lot of people feel like, based on the subject matter of the film, how would this film work in this day and age, especially when we find out the T behind Angela at the end. Hence this infamous shot that y'all see on the right. Now, if you know, you know. If you don't know, child, this is not a spoiler alert. The movie's over 40 years old. Angela turned out to be, when her brother was killed in that boating accident along with the father, who the father, I believe, was a homosexual. Because we did see that homosexual scene with them hunching in the bed and the kids in the corner giggling. And so Angela, we thought that was the boy the girl, well, we thought that the boy passed away and it was the daughter that survived when it was in reverse. And come to find out, the crazy aunt, who was Ricky's mother, didn't want another boy in the house. So she basically dressed Angela up as a girl and all this other stuff. And then Angela was going around, with all the crazy nut stuff going on at the camp, was killing everybody. But the movie had way more craziness going for it than just the whole trans allegory that's in that film. And the fact that there was a trans girl that was in the audience with me at the time when we was talking, when they were doing the Q&A, trans people love this movie. They look at this as the fact that Angela was sort of like that anti-hero that was standing up against all the people that was bullying her and all those, even though the aunt was a damn nutbag and should have been in the insane asylum over the way what she did to Angela and all that other stuff. Then the sequels got a little stupid with the comedy. You had Bruce Springsteen's sister playing Angela, and she was going around just killing people and it was doing like the one-liners. So it's sort of like y'all were trying to do Friday the 13th with Freddy Krueger mashed up with she doing her stupid one-liners while she was killing off the camp counselors and things of that nature. So they did a lot of controversial stuff in the original movie. A bunch of kids got killed that was sleeping in the woods. She went and hacked them up with the axe. And then it was like at the end, the little boy that liked her, she went and took his head off and was petting him. Then you had the pedophile cook. So there was like all kinds of controversial stuff that was in that movie. And it kind of makes me wonder if you're going to do a movie like this, because here's what I was hoping that they slash them movie, I was hoping I was going to give a bit more sleepaway camp vibes. That movie was god awful. I hate that movie. I saw it one time, I was like, we don't even acknowledge this damn film. We've had better queer horror films. But how would they make a movie like Sleepaway Camp work in 2025? Especially since any little thing that you put in things, people want to get all mad, people want to get upset, people want to get, it's always, oh, we got to protest. Whatever. So it's always something. So it's hard to like do controversial subject matter these days. So I'm curious to see what this film is going to be when it comes out, or where they're going to go with the thing, especially with the original writer director writing the script for the film, which came out in '83. So, AFA, the production company of SNL stalwart Kenan Thompson and producer Johnny Ryan Jr., who did Bill and Ted Face the Music and Good Burger 2, is basically behind the new film. They said, "Attention campers, our script has arrived. Please meet us at the waterfront after the social for a table read." This is what AFA shared on Instagram, referring the iconic line from the cult classic, or referencing the iconic line from the cult classic. Casting notices coming soon. Now, Hiltzik will return to the director's chair for the film, which promises to stay true to the original story while adding in new twists. So Robinson Velasco, Monica Weber, Corey Litwin, and Boris Schwartz will executive produce. Range Select is handling sales. Saying, "I am both thrilled and humbled to be working with AFA on the reimagined Sleepaway Camp," Hiltzik previously said. "Though I have been approached by several companies regarding the remake of Sleepaway Camp, only AFA has shared my vision and is excited to have me helm the film, therefore preserving the integrity of the original film for the fans, as well as introducing Sleepaway Camp to a whole new generation." Now, notorious for its shocking ending, Sleepaway Camp was about a deranged killer stalking kids and counselors at summer camp. So yes, it was literally a ripoff of Friday the 13th. There were some things in the movie that was questionable, but for the most part, Sleepaway Camp is actually like a guilty pleasure of mine. Like, I love that movie. Like I told you, I went and I saw the film because I was like, I'd never seen it I never saw it on the big screen because I was literally an infant when the movie came out. So there was no way that I was going to be able to go see. If I wouldn't know what the hell I was watching on the screen. And plus, my mother and them was like big on, even when I was old enough to watch horror movies and I was a kid, my mother was vehemently against me watching horror movies. I told y'all I had convinced her. We went to the neighborhood video store back when they had the mom and pop video store before there was a Blockbuster, because they always had them around. And when I was in Brooklyn, I convinced my mother, based on the cover of the videotape, if we could rent Chud. And she was like, because the one thing about growing up when you're a kid, the thing that pulls you in is always the movie covers. So that was always like the thing that I didn't know what the movie was about. I just like, if I saw a movie cover and it looked interesting, I was like, oh, I want to see this. 5 minutes in, when that old lady got pulled into the damn sewer and the dog was like with the thing, she was like, "What the hell?" and turned it off. So when I was a kid, I only got to see literally the opening sequence to Chud. I never got to finish it until I was old enough to be able to see the movie myself. So yeah, my parents were pretty much strict when it came to like me watching horror movies, which is probably why I like watching them more than any other genre today. So the first time I saw Sleepaway Camp, and I wasn't even aware of the big twist ending. I was flabbergasted, and I was gooped, I was gagged, and I loved the ending. And there's always just been something really in my heart about that film. And I think it's just because it was somebody who I felt like was an outsider that was caught up in a situation that was just going around killing people. She wasn't just killing people for the sake of killing them. It's just there was reasons behind why Angela was doing what she was doing. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this film and who they'll actually cast to play Angela, because if they're having these allegories, if it's a trans allegory twist thing in there, does that mean that they have to hire a trans actor to portray Angela? And if you're going to do that scene, do we have to show Peen? Because remember, if you saw the end of that film, they literally took a mold of Felissa Rose's head and put it on this boy's body, and you literally see the guy standing at the end, his dick is out and everything, twig berries and bush. And so it kind of makes me wonder: will they play that angle, or is it necessary that we have to have a trans actor portraying that character? And do we go there with that scene without people complaining within the queer community? So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I have a lot of questions, clearly. And I'm just waiting until the casting news comes out, see who they hire to portray Angela, as well as the other characters. Like, who do you get to play Ricky? Because here's the thing, Ricky was like my favorite character. You cocksuckers, pricks. Like, all him cussing through that whole movie. I was like, that was literally me at that age. So that's why I always related to Ricky's character. He was he was a cackle for me, because I was like, oh yeah, I totally relate to this kid. And also, let's not forget, do we give Felissa Rose a cameo? Because look, it always seems to go without saying, when you do these classic movies, do you bring back some of the people that were in the original film to have some sort of a thing, like what I was talking about with Crystal Lake, the TV series? Do you bring in because at one point they were going to bring in the actress, damn, I forgot her name, the one that played Alice, the one that was in the first movie, Adrian King. They're like they were supposed to put her, and I don't know if they actually continue with that, or they scrapped that altogether. But in the beginning, when they were doing, before they did the whole showrunner change and revitalize everything they were going to do in the Crystal Lake series, they were going to bring Adrienne King in, who was in Friday the 13th Part 1, and she was killed off in Part 2. So they found a way they were going to bring her in there, and I guess she was going to play a different role, but it would be nice to see somebody from that franchise to be in there as kind of like a wink to the fans. It kind of makes me wonder if they're going to do that too, because I did see that when Robert wrote that the script was finished, Felissa was in the comments, and she put, like, she gave a response. So it'll be interesting, but I guess it's only a matter of time before we find out. We'll see. Maybe they can make her a counselor, or the head of the. Well, no, she'd be too old to be a counselor. They can make her like the head of the camp or something. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Uh, Oh, that's why. So Robert says Warner Brothers owns the copyright of the red shoes. So that's probably why. So it's like they had to change it up, because copywritten stuff, studios, all that mess, and nobody's trying to pay a whole big amount of money just so that way they can use a certain reference. And was like, okay, we'll just go with Silver. But at that point, why even show Dorothy? Funny enough, Cat People is on Prime Video, MGM Plus, one of them things. So it'd be interesting to see if they could possibly do that. Probably not a great time for a trans related horror film. OMG, folks will think it's no, they won't. But we'll see. First of all, we can't sit up here and worry about this crazy ass Trump administration and what they think. If you're gonna tell a story, tell the story. Said Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is in the building. How you doing? Have you guys heard the good news that the foolproof fail-safe has been implemented for this construct of time and a Okay. Where all the crazies coming from all of a sudden with this mess? We need a at band camp. You talking about American Pie? Final Destination 11. No band camp stuff. How about a horror version of Willy Wonka? Mm-mm. First of all, we're already living in that world of the Willy Wonka and the chocolate factory and situation. So it's like, no, we don't need that real life situation. But speaking of which, I was scrolling on Prime Video yesterday, and they got Willy Wonka up there, the original with Gene Wilder, not that messed up one where you had um, Johnny Depp dressed like Michael Jackson. But yeah, that one, the original one is up. I was like, I forgot about that film because I used to like that film growing up. I also didn't realize that that movie was old. Like it came out in 19, what is it, like 1971, 1972? I don't, or it might have been 69. I'm not sure. But I was like, damn, this movie is that old. Why did I think like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory came out like the mid to late 70s? It actually came out in the early 70s. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the wait, hold on. Are you saying it? Oh, did it? Well, I'm sure that, it's always like the classic films, the movies that we look at as cult hits, turn out to always bomb at the box office. Okay, so now let's get into this Hugh Jackman news because now Hugh Jackman is opening about the possibility of, you know, retracting his adamantium clause. So there's been many a times when we've talked about Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, or whenever they ask him about playing Wolverine, he's always like, "This is the last film. I don't know if I'm going to come back." He always seems to like close the door on that chapter, and I guess maybe it's because he wants to be taken seriously as a legitimate actor. But no shade. We're just gonna have to call it for what it is. Yeah, he's had little things here and there that he's been able to do, and because of Wolverine, he's been afforded to be able to do his musical stuff, like go on Broadway, and then most recently have his little residency. I think he's done with that right now at Radio City. But people always equate Hugh Jackman with playing Wolverine, and I can't see like he could play that character for the rest of his life. Although I do feel like at this point it's time to move on to a different Wolverine, but because every time Hugh Jackman's Wolverine pops up, his movies do fairly well. He might be playing this until he's literally Old Man Logan. So Hugh Jackman recently appeared on the Graham Norton show, where he proclaimed that he will never say he is never playing Wolverine again. That's why I always tell people never say never. Jackman announced that he was done playing the iconic X-Men superhero after 2017's Logan, which ended with the character's death. But Jackman wasn't being truthful. He returned as Wolverine 7 years later in the 2024 Marvel blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine. He said, quote, "Every time you're on a talk show, you got to go, nope, I'm not doing that again. But then you keep making another one and it's a big hit. So are you going to have to do it again?" Jackman, he said, maybe I am never saying never ever again, but I did mean it when I said never the first time until the day when I changed my mind. But I really did for quite a few years. I meant it. Well, I'm sure in that when you're in that space, you're sort of like, yeah, I'm pretty much done playing Wolverine. I want to go off because as an actor, you're like, I don't want to be playing the same part for like 20, 30 years, which literally he has at this point. Because we started playing Wolverine in what, like 2000, 2001 when they came out with X-Men? So yeah, he's been playing the character for so damn long. I totally get it that it's like you're ready to move on. You've been playing the same character for almost 30 years. You're not getting any younger. And plus you have to realize that Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman, the older he gets, the more difficult it is for him to maintain the physicality. Because who has the wherewithal to continue to be in the gym and eating a certain way? You got to eat all that damn chicken breast. I'm eating every 3 hours, and then I'm having to lift weights and probably using HGH and steroids. And so when Hugh Jackman is trying to look jacked, man, in playing Wolverine or whatever the case is, that's a lot of work on that body. And he ain't getting any younger. The man is in his 50s. So I totally get it that it becomes hard to maintain. But of course, with Hollywood, there's ways you can get around that. Now, during last year's Deadpool and Wolverine press tour, he admitted that his feelings about staying in retirement for Wolverine were complicated after he saw the first Deadpool movie. He was like, I was like, those two characters together, I knew it. I knew the fans wanted it ever since I put on the claws. People talked about these two, so that had always been there, but I just knew. This is what he told Fandango. He said, I ran Ryan, as in Reynolds, and I just said, let's do it. Like, I hadn't rung my agent, no one. I had to ring my agent and say, but oh, by the way, I have just committed to a movie. But not everyone is initially sold on the idea of Jackman coming back as Wolverine. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige confirmed to Empire that he originally warned Jackman against playing Wolverine again. I said, well, quote, I said, let me give you a piece of advice, Hugh, don't come back. This is what Feige said. You had the greatest ending in the history with Logan. That's not something we should undo. And I will agree with that. I felt like Logan was a great way to wrap up the whole Wolverine saga. I do feel like based on the way they set things up in Deadpool and Wolverine, they already did that montage where there's so many different versions, so many iterations of Wolverine. Now, do I think that he may appear in Avengers Doomsday? Well, look, if you bringing back all the other characters, if you bringing back Professor X, if you bringing back Cyclops, if you bringing back all these other X-Men that we've grown up from the franchise that he was a part of into the Avengers Doomsday and possibly Secret Wars, I do think that some of the mutants will get killed. But if you're gonna bring them in Secret Wars, then I'm like, yeah, I would like to see Hugh Jackman one or maybe two more times if he survives that. But I do feel like at the end of the day, if you're trying to do a new X-Men where you're going younger, so that way you can have this next generation of actors pretty much play these characters in the long haul, which is what I'm sure Kevin Feige wants. Um, I would be like, yeah, it's time to move on from that. Yes, we like what we like and we want that nostalgia feel. And Hugh Jackman, yes, is the best Wolverine to ever do it. I mean, that's not saying much because that's the only Wolverine that we know. But it's time to hang up the claws. It's time to let somebody young, fresh, and new come in and play that part, whoever it is. I mean, I don't know. Some people say Daniel Radcliffe, some people say Taron Egerton, so many people say so many different names. And I'd be all here for whoever they choose, because I'm sure that Marvel, one of the things about them, they're really good with the casting. And I like Hugh Jackman. I met him in person. He and I spoke briefly. He's very good looking in person, and he's nice. He's a nice guy. So, and I told him we had an elevator situation. I was gonna say elevator encounter. That would have sounded way too sexual. But we had an encounter. We talked briefly. He was cool and everything. So, and this is when he was promoting Logan. That's when he and I met. So um I like Hugh Jackman. He is in, of course, the best Wolverine to ever do it. However, I do feel like if we're trying to tell a whole new story with new X-Men, it is time that we move on from Hugh Jackman, just like we could depart from. And here's the thing that I feel like this is probably the fault of uh oh my god, what's his name? Bryan Singer, the director, or the original one. Hugh Jackman was never like, well, not Hugh Jackman. Wolverine was never a character that was supposed to be like the central part of the X-Men, but he made his character that way. He centered X-Men around Wolverine. And yes, and Hugh Jackman definitely did what he would need to be done in regards of making his character memorable. But at the same time, it's like we're putting, I feel like, way too much on Hugh Jackman. And yes, we can sit up here and talk money and box office, and finances, how that's great. But I feel like in my heart of hearts, it's time to revamp, bring in new people, and give other actors a chance to play all these different characters, whether it be Storm, whether it be Jean Grey, whether it be Professor X, Magneto, Mystique, whoever. It is time to bring in fresh meat once they've done whatever it is they plan on doing with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you be here to see Hugh Jackman on the big screen yet again playing X-Men? I mean, playing X-Men, playing Wolverine in X-Men. And look, I would never want to turn away seeing Hugh Jackman on our big screens again to playing the character, playing Wolverine. But like I said, it's time to move on and bring in new people and reboot the franchise of X-Men. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hugh would have made a great Reed Richards. Why was I drawing a blank and thinking, who was Reed Richards? Oh yeah, Fantastic Four. I was like, wait, why am I drawing a blank? Wait, so you didn't like Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards? I guess because he's been so in the pocket of playing who he's played. I think that people wouldn't have really. It would have really taken people out because I feel like the same thing with Robert Downey Jr., which they really going to have to do a lot of convincing with that. A lot of people see Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. They're not going to try to. It was like I can't see him as Doctor Doom. You really going to have us really be on board with whatever angle y'all taking with this, because I don't see it. I still see Iron Man. And even though we haven't seen a trailer, but we will see one in a couple of weeks when they post the trailer up before Avatar in theaters. So, um, I don't know. Well, my thing was I liked oh my god, what's his name from The Office? John Krasinski. I liked him as Reed Richards, but then they killed him off in Multiverse of Madness, and then we got Pedro Pascal, which I like Pedro Pascal, but I just saw Pedro Pascal playing Reed Richards, like cosplaying as Reed Richards for Halloween. That's what he gave me with that. It's like no kind of distinction of your face because you have like a certain way you keep your facial hair and that sort of thing. Now I peed myself hypothetically. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. The HGH and steroids, and I said I would like to see him on the screen again. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Hugh Jackman, but it's time to move on. You said Tara Edison, Daniel Radcliffe, they'll do high testosterone, shorter men. I mean, look, if they want to be comic book accurate, Wolverine was not 6'2". Wolverine was short. Ew. But like I said, it's time. The problem with revamping characters is having a solid story to revamp with, not just to do it to do it. Well, that's why I said that. I feel like what they're doing now is they're trying to use Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars as a way to do a reset because post Endgame, the MCU has kind of been all over the place tonally on what story they're trying to tell. Like who you're passing the mantle down. Now that we've done the whole, 3 phases, where do we go from here? And I don't think they thought that all the way through. And so it's kind of been hit and miss with a lot of the films that have come out post Endgame. So I feel like they're trying to write a couple of situations in regards to that. Right as an RIGHT, not WRITE. Give me that shook. The straights can worry about height. Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of times that's people worry too much about that when it comes to movies. Oh, this person has to be this height. I'm like, how can you tell how tall somebody is watching them on the screen? You never know somebody's height until you stood next to them. And I've stood next to a lot of celebrities, and trust and believe, a lot of them are shorter than than you realize. There's very few celebrities that are relatively tall. I'm probably sure. I told you I ran into Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively back when when he did the first Deadpool. I worked the red carpet for that. Anyway, let's get back into the show. Now we can get into some gossip. Now that we got all the movie news and stuff out of the way. Let's get into some Real Housewives news. So apparently, I'm sure y'all all heard over the weekend. I was shocked when I heard this that Kandi Burruss and Todd Tucker have basically, well, she pretty much have done all the violations, have filed for divorce after 11 years of marriage. Now I know one person that's probably happy hearing all of this, shady ass Mama Joyce, because she ain't never liked Todd. And shout out to who did I say, Kandi, who stood by this man for as long as she did. I mean, who knows why they splitting up, but maybe y'all have a clue. But yeah, I was shocked to hear all of this mess. So she said, and shout out to People Magazine, because this is where they gave the exclusive to. It's funny how, like, I noticed Bravo people, even if whether you're still with Bravo or you're no longer with Bravo, they always go to People Magazine to um give their exclusives. So after deep thought and a lot of prayer, I made the decision to move forward with the divorce. This is a difficult and emotional time, but my focus remains on protecting my peace, being the best mother I can be, and co-parenting with love and respect. This is what Burruss told People in an exclusive statement. I'm stepping into a new chapter, pouring into my work, my family, and my own growth. I'm grateful to everyone who supported us throughout the years, and I ask for privacy, grace, and understanding as we navigate this transition with our family. Now, Burruss, who's 49, and her producer husband, Tucker, who's 52, met while filming the fourth season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta in 2011 and announced their engagement in January of 2013. They tied the knot the following year in April. Since then, the pair have welcomed two children, son Ace, who's 9, and daughter Blaze, who's 5. Both also have children from previous relationships, Burruss's daughter Riley, 23, and Tucker's daughter Kayla, who's 29. Now, in October 2022, Burruss told people the secret to their happy marriage was just great communication and having fun together, saying, "We have a real understanding of each other." The pair have also teamed up professionally on a variety of projects, a soul food restaurant chain in Georgia, which I love you, Kandi, but you have not gotten the ravest of reviews when it comes down to your soul food restaurant down in wasn't it called, what was it, one called Blaze? I heard that was a hot mess. And there was another one too. What was it, Old Lady Gang? Like, what's going on with that? Then they also have a trucking company and a Bravo series about their family and the restaurant business are just a few of their collaborations. And also they produce some Broadway stuff too. Um I forget all the Broadway stuff, but they've been investing in a lot of producing Broadway. Didn't they even do the Wiz at one point? That came and went rather quickly. The pair have also they said on November 14th, Burruss was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Bravos during BravoCon 2025 in Las Vegas and thanked Tucker in her acceptance speech. She said to Todd, "Thank you for surviving the blogs, the shade, the rumors, the lies, the truth, the almost fights, the actual fights, the reunions. You earned this award too." Well, you know what? That's a good way to put it in your speech, only to realize right after, because when did the Bravos happen? Last week? Only days later, after the Bravos done happened in BravoCon, that you filing for divorce. So he survived the shade, the rumors, the lies, the truth, or she would say, the lies, the lies, the lies. You know that meme. The truth, the almost fights, the actual fights, and the reunions. He survived that to a point, but you survived it a good 11 years because you know how them reality shows are. And I know Andy's like, damn, I wish we could have got all this on film. Like, come back to the Housewives. But I don't see Kandi coming back to the Housewives. She's booked and busy. She got a lot of stuff going on. She ain't got time to be entertaining them shenanigans and that mess over there at Bravo. Like, she's producing a lot of projects, movies, Broadway plays. Um, she's got a lot on her plate. Now, the singer-songwriter who made her Broadway debut in Chicago in 2018 and will make her Broadway return on December 11th, starring in And Juliet, will run through March 8th and has since built an impressive resume as a theater producer. Damn, so she's gonna be in wait. Now my damn Siri went off pulling up information. I'm like, look, I hate sometimes my watch be bugging out. Okay, so they have it in here. So I should have just kept on going. So anyway, so her theater accolades. She did earn a Tony Award nomination for The Piano Lesson and produced acclaimed revivals, including The Wiz, The Piano Lesson, Thoughts of a Colored Man, and last season's Othello, led by Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. Speaking of which, they're remaking Othello, produced by Barbara Broccoli, who produces the oh my god, who's in that? The James Bond films. And I believe Chiwetel Ejiofor and Cynthia Erivo, yeah, she got another job outside of playing Elphaba, is going to be in this new revival of Othello. But anyway, I think it's going to be a movie. But so Burruss previously shared with people that former couples' career ambitions were quite aligned. She said, "We have intertwined our wants and desires. We have all of these dreams, and sometimes I'll be out of the box." And he'll be like, "Okay, babe, let's do it." Now, in honor of their eighth wedding anniversary in March of 2022, the reality star shared a video montage featuring photos of her and Tugger together, set to their song "Forever Love" featuring Q Parker. The images were captured throughout the years and included the couple smiling with their marriage licenses as well as together at a NASDAQ event and on the red carpet. So they got that forever kind of love, but like I always say, nothing lasts forever. Everything is for a reason and a season. It's all temporary. So I always try not to put a expiration date or something on something. I just feel like it'll last when it lasts. And when you're at a point where it's like, okay, um, I gotta protect my peace or whatever the case is. It's becoming a little too toxic, whatever the reason is, and I'm sure we'll find out the tea on why their relationship didn't last. But it happens. Things happen. People outgrow each other and they move on. So shout out to you, Kandi. I'm sorry to hear that you and Todd are splitting up. Um, but yeah, shit happens. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? You sad to hear that Kandi Burruss and Todd are splitting up after 11 years of marriage. I know Mama Joy's probably in that house doing that church dance up in the house. Happy with this news. Y'all know that church dance the ladies of leisure be doing. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You said nobody really cares. Like when they cast Johnny Storm as the black guy, nobody I knew really cared about the story. Was kind of oh, you talking about when Michael B. Jordan played Johnny Storm? I thought people did have a problem with it. I enjoy a party too. Oh wait, I enjoy to party too, especially love when I'm dancing, hardcore bumping, and grinding stuff. Wait, who we referring to as a monkey on here? Because one thing we do not do is the racist shit in the comments. For what it is and what it was, after 11 years, I'm surprised Todd and Kandi lasted this long. Hold on. I'm just like, I'm banning your ass. One thing you will not do is come up here and refer to anybody as a goddamn monkey. Especially when I can't see what your monkey ass look like. So there's that. Racism will not be tolerated on this channel. Now, speaking of Bravo, let's get them old Bravo and Atlanta. So the Bravo chairman has basically said that NeNe Lanithia Monique Leaks could bring her behind back to Atlanta Housewives. So I guess time heal all wounds, and we've all moved on from the situation that was surrounding NeNe accusing the people over at Bravo of being racist or whatever the case is. Because now they talking about that Miss Mamas can come back to the show. So wait, hold on. Wait, did I hit the right one? Yeah, I did. Hold on, that was way too big. That's what she said. Now, the door isn't closed, apparently. After years, years after NeNe Leakes started a very public battle with Bravo, NBC, Andy Cohen, and everyone else in charge of the Housewives of Atlanta, there's a sign of hope from Frances Berwick, chairman of Bravo and Peacock Unscripted. From her lips to the Bravo gods' ears, there might finally be a path forward, and it's about damn time. Now, fresh off a successful BravoCon, Francis spoke to Variety about the art of forgiveness in the Bravoverse. The topic has been on the mind of Bravo fans after Karen Huger made her first public appearance at the event following her stint in jail after a DUI. When she came out on stage at the Bravos, fans greeted her with a standing ovation. But can the same grace be extended to someone who publicly feuded with the network? Francis thinks that it can be, that it can be. We've had, she said, quote, I said quoted, quote, we have NeNe on red carpet shows for E. We have worked with NeNe since then. This is what Francis said of the disgruntled former RHOA star. And I said that to him like, yeah, they worked with her in the past. Like, if they're going to have her at NBC Universal events, then yeah, it clearly shows that time has passed. They moved on. No hard feelings, I guess. I mean, people get, look, I keep telling you, it's not show friends. This is show business. Then it's a business. People get so caught up in their emotions, and you have a right to feel how you feel at times, but this is a business at the end of the day. And you can't get your emotions all wrapped up into into business type of endeavors. So, to get back into the article, as a reminder, For those of you who are not aware, NeNe accused Andy and the network at large of engaging in racist behavior. She said they blackballed her from other opportunities after she called them out. However, Frances believes that there could be a path forward. So, in a way, they're not denying that they blocked opportunities. And yeah, corporations are notorious for doing that. If you got a lot of white people running, at the top of the situation, and you ain't gonna have black folks that's gonna come in your favor and defend you because everybody's out here for self and they're not trying to rock the boat and ruin their shit. So why would they come out and defend you? But Frances, who, as I said, didn't deny that they blackballed her from other opportunities after she called them out for the things that they were doing, does believe that there could be a path forward. That could be either on RHOA or another show, such as the recently announced anniversary event series Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip. So yeah, they have a new Ultimate Road Trip coming out. Ultimate Girls Show, I think ever since that situation happened with Caroline Manzo and Brandy Glanville, that show is done. I don't even think that season's ever going to come to air because they filmed that a while ago. And I think that lawsuit is ongoing, I guess. I don't know what's happening with that. It just feels like it's in limbo. So I don't see um them coming to terms with any kind of mutual type situation. So I do think we could see NeNe down the road. If she doesn't decide to do Real Housewives of Atlanta, I definitely could see her doing the Traders. I mean, didn't we hear stories that she was supposed to do this upcoming season of the Traders, the one that has Monet Exchange and all of them on there? She was supposed to do that season, but I believe something happened with her youngest son. He was in the hospital, so she had to drop out and tend to him. So I'm definitely thinking like with everything else going on, I don't know if there's any other kind of roadblocks that NeNe has going on right now. I could definitely see her signing up to do the next season of the Traders. And if not, I was gonna be like, maybe she could do that world's greatest what was it, that military show that Teresa Giudice just did. That sidebar, shout out to her daughter Gia, who was a winner on that season. She should have did that. I could see her doing that. But then again, NeNe don't give me the type that want to do physical activities. She would do something like The Apprentice again before she would do something like that. So I can't see her doing no kind of physical military type stuff. But as far as like Real Housewives of Atlanta, look, I haven't watched the Real Housewives of Atlanta in the past couple of seasons because I just feel like I've outgrown that show. The whole thing of what made me like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, those feelings, that vibe isn't there anymore. So I'm not really feeling the franchise like I used to. I barely even watch any of the other franchises. The ones that I really stick to watching, I watch Beverly Hills, so I'm looking forward to seeing that season. The one thing about Beverly Hills, yeah, they've had their ups and downs, but for the most part, they've always kept the true essence of what Beverly Hills is about intact with that franchise. That's why I've always stuck with it, regardless of how I feel about some of the people that come and go on the show. The core value of what makes Beverly Hills what it is hasn't changed. I feel like they've changed a lot of what was going on with what made me love Atlanta. And who knows, maybe bringing back NeNe, they could bring that feeling back. It could change. Like we could, you know, maybe they could help breathe some new life in um in the show. Hold on, because I'm just getting a lot of trolls in this thing today. Let's feel like the hold on. I'll get into my overall thoughts after this. But anyway, so what else is there to say? Okay, so they're basically saying that they want her to be on the show, and they say it's a variety of things, and it's also about the level of accountability, the level of change that that person is going to make. So, oh, this is what they're saying because I jumped over of the gun on this. So not only did they bring up NeNe, they asked, okay, so after what had happened with Kenya and that whole situation last year with the inappropriate photos or whatever, um, could the door possibly be open for Kenya to come back in some capacity? So she explained that accountability is an important factor when determining who to forgive and who to forget. So they say it's a variety of things, but it's also about the level of accountability, the level of change, and that person's going to have to make. So they want basically if Kenya wants to come back to the Housewives of Atlanta, she has to, own up to the part that she played in the Brit Edie photo scandal situation. Now, ultimately, the Bravo exec reiterated that they really want to close the door on their talent. The only exception is when they've done something seriously criminal, like Jen Shah. Even when someone isn't actively on the show, Francis said they're still part of the family, so perhaps this family feud with NeNe is finally coming to an end. So that makes me wonder too. Now, Jen Shah did something heinous. Does that mean y'all the door's gonna be open for her? Because y'all know, like, at the end of the day, money talks and so do them ratings. So that's what I think like people are going to focus on is that they want to focus on, the ratings or whatever. Cause like with Karen getting out of jail, get that exclusive interview because you know the ratings are gonna go through the roof. So at the end of the day, all these people care about is ratings. They, everybody's being used like pack mules. They don't care how it goes, whatever the case is, as long as they get them ratings, that's all they care about. And a lot of you people in this industry need to learn how to play the game to your advantage in order to progress and move on to the things that you really want to get. So it's always a give and take when it comes to working in this business. Yes, it's brutal. Yes, it's ruthless, but it is what it is. So would I like to see NeNe come back if it could help breathe some new life into this tired ass franchise? I would not be against her coming back, but I just feel like y'all really gonna have to work all kinds of miracles to get me interested in NeNe coming back to the show and give a damn about these other girls because I really don't care about a lot of these girls that's on the show. Now, if they brought back NeNe and Kenya, I'm like, okay, I'll be here for it. And I know some of y'all in the comments, how y'all, because we've had conversations before whenever I brought up Kenya, you're not too fond of her. But um, if they brought these two back, I wouldn't be all upset. It's just the way you utilize them. But like I said, there's plenty of reality shows that is a part of the NBC Universal, umbrella that she could be a part of. So I say let's say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you like to see NeNe come back to the show? The Bravo chairman, it ain't about what Andy say or whatever. If she still got beef with him, but I think she said that they worked things out. But the chairman over at Bravo said that they be here for NeNe coming back on the show. Now, would you like to see her come back? I definitely want to hear from you. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Now, address that asshole that I had to block. So I had to block two damn people. Um, which I love the fact that I have that control over here now, which is why I'm not doing it on Twitch anymore because I don't necessarily know how to block people over there. So I'm gonna just keep it YouTube and Facebook. So I have it on both my Facebook channels that people can live stream this and the YouTube. But um people up in here with these little shady ass comments. I realize the bigger this channel gets, and I was already prepared for it. The bigger this channel gets, I've noticed. I told y'all the live stream. Well, not even the live stream. Like after the one where y'all be watching on y'all phones, it gets a lot of numbers coming in. So there's a lot more eyes on the show, and I know like the more eyes is on here, you're gonna get the people in the comments that's trolling. So um, this is what you're gonna have to deal with, and I can mute and I can block. Wait, I think I went too far up. I definitely went too far up. You said, "Damn, who's that?" Y'all know that's NeNe. After 1,000 surgeries. And you said she'll mess it up. I promise. NeNe wants a large, yeah, not a Trump check. First of all, I would ask her if she still bring up that Trump check. I'm like, but did it bounce? Because Trump don't like paying nobody, and Trump wasn't really paying them checks. It was the it was the agents and all those other people. When you working for a studio and doing a show called The Apprentice, which yes, it has Trump's name on it because he's in the headlines, but it wasn't his show. Just like a lot of them buildings he has is not his. He just loans his name for some coins. So they've been banned. He said none of the other franchises piqued my interest. I really hope NeNe comes back and makes cable TV worth having. I can't think of anything interesting that has happened. Yeah, agreed. That's why I don't really care for a lot of the housewives. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like there's very few I watch. Well, when Jersey was on, I was watching that. But after a while, the toxicity between the Gorgas and and Teresa was getting on my nerves, and Margaret with her bullshit. But then they put the show on hold, and now they trying to make, they all trying to play, sing Kumbaya, hold hands and stuff. So they're doing all of that over there. And we'll see if that actually gets, the Bravo people being like, okay, let's bring these broads back, or is it an act? So yeah, but yeah, none of the franchises are really piquing my interest. I don't particularly care for Potomac. I don't watch what is it? Orange County. I've never watched that franchise. I just think those women are polarizing and annoying. Um I don't care. I haven't watched like Atlanta gets I try to give it a chance after like 2 or 3 episodes. I'm like, okay, this is boring. I'm out. And I don't care about the whole season. So the only one I really watch is Beverly Hills. And New York, I didn't care about the new girls. Now, if y'all would have merged some of the old school girls with the new school girls, then I probably would have watched. But the New York girls is just not interesting. Kenya was so close to being the Atlanta queen, but she sabotaged, of course. And I feel like she needs to come to terms. She needs to just put her tail between her legs, go to the Bravo and be like, you know what? I take accountability. I apologize, and get your peach back. He said, please call my name Leosa. Wingardium Leviosa. Keep it cute, keep it mute, or get the boot, okay? And does. And you said, if no one has told you yet, you're a wonderful, bright, beautiful individual, and hopefully the rest of your day goes amazingly. Well, thank you. All right, so now let's get into our final Housewives news. And let's talk about this mess coming out of Radar Online. So Radar Online, you already know you got to take their tea with a grain of salt. Because while we were just talking about the possibility that the exec over at Bravo said that the door is open for NeNe to come back and possibly Kenya Moore, hair care. Now Radar Online is spilling this story about the possibility that execs are tired of all the crazy train wreck mess that's coming out from a lot of the people that they've hired on the show, and are looking to chop the franchise altogether. So after years of lawsuits, scandals, and sinking ratings, the Real Housewives franchise is about to get swept under the rug by NBC Universal. Radar Online can reveal, saying, quote, NBC doesn't want the headache anymore, said one high level source. The brand has become more about courtrooms than catfights. Well, shit, get the cameras in courtrooms. Like I would expect that be the way that you would want it to be. I mean, the catfights get so old and it feels so convoluted and put upon that it's like, okay, if one of our people did some fraudulent white collar crime, we need to get the cameras in there. But if they're not allowing cameras, at least have them sitting outside and waiting until your clients or the people that's on your show come out and then give an update and let us know what's going on. Now, with the exec said to be alarmed by the avalanche of lawsuits, a longtime Bravo insider says the whole endeavor has turned toxic. The Housewives used to deliver glamour and chaos, and now it's just legal bills and damage control. Well, I think that's what we all loved about the Housewives, is that it was a mixture of not only the glitz and the glamour and the chaos and the drama, but also was about legalities and things that was going on. Like we like all that stuff. Hence why the show gets, it's modeled after shows like Dynasty and Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, and a lot of those Aaron Spelling type of shows. It was always about that type of stuff, but it's just told in reality TV. Reality TV. Now, though a Bravo rep denies it, sources said NBC, which runs Bravo, is quietly discussing a 2-year plan to phase out the franchise entirely. They said they built the empire on drama, but the drama's gotten way too real and expensive. The reality television queens recently came together at BravoCon in New York City, and it was, of course, filled with drama. Well, that goes without saying. You're getting a bunch of middle-aged women in a room together. Like, what was you expecting them to doing patty cake? Like, that's what y'all thought? They was all going to sit down, eat tea and crumpets, and drink tea and eat crumpets, and basically just sing "Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya." Like, no, that's not what we get from that. We want the drama. You want these middle-aged women who get so caught up in. It ain't even about the money. It's about the fame and stuff. Fame is a crazier, more addictive drug than any kind of regular drug you could take, whether it be Ambien or crack. um the drug of choice with people, like that drug called fame. It's a messy one. So do I believe this story? I'm calling bullshit on this. Bravo Con, as they said, was just in Vegas. It was a huge success. An exec we just did in our previous topic, an exec just said the door is open for NeNe's leaks to return back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, along with they even had like a little 50-50 type of feeling towards Kenya, and said that, yeah, Kenya, the door's open for her if she comes to the table accepting accountability for the part she played in Brit Edie and that whole photo scandal. And then we have Real Housewives Ultimate Road Trip. Didn't they just don't we have the Real Housewives of Rhode Island? Isn't that a new show that I believe they just previewed at the at BravoCon? No shade. I'm not interested in trying to latch myself onto another Housewives spinoff. I'm just Housewives out. I feel like I'm at that point in my life where I've kind of outgrown a lot of the Housewives shows. So regardless of what they want to create, if they want to continue to spin off and spin off and spin off and spin off, I could care less. I'm not interested in getting to know new people. I'm gonna just stick to the rivers and the lakes that I'm used to. So I'm gonna stick to let's take the Beverly Hills because that's the only show that I watch at this point. If they want to bring back NeNe and Kenya for Atlanta, I will definitely check it out and see how that whole situation works out. And if they revive Jersey and we find out, depending on what's going on over there, I'll give that a gander. And also New York. Because these New York girls are boring. So if they decide to find a way to bring back some of the OG girls and merge them with the new girls, to make it work, even though Andy has denied that that's the direction they're going into, then I'd be here for that too. But for the most part, do I believe the story? No, I don't believe it at all. I think that Radar Online is pulling a bunch of BS out of their ass. And um, also, we forgot about this, that Jenna Lyons, speaking of New York, she announced that she's leaving after 2 seasons. Kandi just announced she's splitting from Todd after 11 years. So I don't see, unless the ratings really start to tank, that NBC Universal will phase out this franchise, because if they can do like a convention similar to DragCon, but now Andy Cohen is doing BravoCon, because they're pretty much all these women that are there are products, and they have, they can make money selling merch and all this other stuff. Who doesn't want to watch a bunch of middle-aged women bicker with each other over nothing of importance? So as long as that whole situation continues to happen and all the drama and people get drawn into all of this drama with these women getting caught in real life crimes like Wendy recently, and I almost forgot Mia Thornton, how she got caught out here recently and got arrested. So them Potomac girls, y'all are a mess over there. You had Karen can't keep her mouth off a bottle of liquor. You have Wendy out here with 40 damn credit cards, stealing people, doing identity, white collar crime theft with her husband. And then you got Mia being a thief. It's like, what's going on over in Potomac? But anyway, so yeah, I'm not buying this story at all. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you believe that this could be the beginning of the end for the Housewives franchise because of all the shenanigans and drama and stuff? You would think that'd be a ratings draw, not necessarily something that would push people away. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Right. I've always been saying they need a gay version of Real Housewives. I feel like they tried to do that with that show with Todrick, but that show was a hot mess. You can find some gays that you could put together collectively that'll be entertaining with these shenanigans. Well, shit, I'd be on it. I wouldn't mind if they did, and I would definitely guest star in that. I would definitely give y'all entertainment. I wouldn't be starting the entertainment, but this mouth, I definitely would be giving y'all something to. So I'll come up in there with my pieces on, strutting in the room, and meaning business. But anyway, so we definitely need a gay version. But then you have homosexuals that like to, the gatekeepers like Andy Cohen and that other queen. What's her name? Carlos King. You got them that be wanting to, oh, men aren't entertaining. Men are not good to. Straight men are not entertaining. And let me tell you something. That's not necessarily true, because when I watch The Housewives of New Jersey, The men over there are just as entertaining as the women. And that's because Jersey men are very dramatic. I work with a lot of them at the garden. So yeah, Jersey men are very dramatic. So um that they managed to make it work with the men over there on that show. And trust and believe, gay men are thoroughly entertaining. And you see there's a lot of shows like, well, I don't even want to mention new show The Circle because he brings out the same season every like 5 years. And then you have what was it? There's other YouTube, like there's YouTube reality shows. Karan was doing them where they have like their own gay version of the Housewives. And so they was doing that, but we definitely need one with a big budget over there on like a network. And I do think that women would watch a bunch of gay men being messy. But then you of course you'll get those uppity gay, you're setting us back 50 years. Please. Your whole existence sets us back 50 years. Yes. Hail to Dominique Devereaux. He said with camera filming them. People are literally obsessed with the Housewives franchise. The story sounds kind of. That's why I said I'm not buying it. But I was like, because it goes with the Housewives, will entertain the shenanigans and the tomfoolery. Oh yeah, they love liquor over there. That's how you get them loosened up. Well, some of y'all might be new in the channel, but I did an episode of the Housewives of New Jersey when they did the circus episode, Sending the Clowns, when Tinsley was the ringleader. They were in my section, and one of the producers came out to me and was like, "Do you want to bring drinks down to women?" So yeah, they definitely liquor them up because that's how you loosen them up to be able to film the way they need to film. And so I knew if I said no, then I wasn't going to be on the show. So I was like, let me bring down the wine to the women, pass them down. Tissy's mother was nice though, because she and I had a brief. If y'all watch the episode, you literally see me in the scene, and I'm having a brief conversation with Tinsley's mother, and so they all passing it down, the drinks, whatever. They're trying to get them all loosened up. It was wine that they were drinking, and that's how they do the show, where they want them to loosen up so they can have fun and give them some footage to work with. There was a whole scene they cut out between uh who was it? It was Tinsley and it was Sonia. They were so drunk out of their damn mind. Like Tinsley couldn't even keep her eyes open. They had to cut that whole damn scene. Because I was literally on the side holding up the wire. I was like, let me help out production. So I was literally holding up the wire on the side while they were filming that scene. And you literally see Tinsley there, eyelashes thick as hell. Couldn't keep her eyes open. Another. Yeah, I'm giving y'all behind the scenes tea of what happened on that show. And they cut that whole scene because it was like, when I was looking, I was like, they're not going to be able to do anything with this footage. And that was correct. I was correct. They're not going to be able to do it because they were just saying a bunch of nothing. And Tinsley couldn't even keep her eyes open. So, I've never watched any of the Housewives shows. Where is Cleveland? Mm-mm. Cleveland is on vacation in Puerto Rico. That's where he is. They said Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne rules. Yes, they do. I was just talking about Ozzy Osbourne the other day while I was at work because a coworker and I were having a conversation working a Gunna concert, a concert I will never work again in the history of me breathing on this earth. Um, it was horrible. But what was I going to say? Oh, so he and I were having a brief conversation because we were talking about Ozzy Osbourne and I was talking about Ozfest and a whole bunch of other stuff. Hatch Ground Fog too. What does that mean? He said, I like Utah, Beverly Hills, and Potomac. Yeah, I don't watch the only one I watch is Beverly Hills. Hi, I'm Ruby. I'm new here and I need your followers. I'm a gamer, just want to stream my games. Well, the only way you can get followers is you have to continue to do videos and build up your following that way. And if you're trying to stream, you gotta do that on Twitch. Not you saying no one cares. He said, I can see it could be true. Mia who? Mia Thornton. Miss Big Back. That was wait, what's she? No, she's not on Potomac anymore, right? Because at one point there was some other rumor was she was supposed to go to Atlanta. Then they have the Real Men of Hollywood. You talking about that show with the short queen? What's his name? Kevin Hart. A lot of us are grown, so if the show doesn't grow with us, then it will phase out like the Kardashians. Exactly, because it's like I never got into the Kardashians. I was one of the very few that never kept up with the Kardashians. I just never cared. I just didn't think they were entertaining. They just annoy me. That stupid vocal fry was annoying. So I never really got into the Kardashians. I even tried to like. I was like, "What's everybody get? Why is everybody so fascinated with this show?" And I tried watching one episode. It just felt so fake. I was like, mm-mm, I don't care. The only time I tolerated the Kardashians, well, at least one of them, was when Chloe used to come on Drag Race. That's before they could afford actual celebrities. So, Echo, I agree. Not you said, can you imagine? Can you imagine you versus Vanjie? Well, Vanjie likes me apparently because she follows me on TikTok. So shout out to Vanjie. You said Bravo should have Bravo Island match make show. First of all, they were supposed to have a matchmaker show. I don't know what happened with that, or did it ever air? I think Countess Luann and two other girls were supposed to be on there, and they were supposed to be doing like a dating show or something or another. I don't know. I never kept up with it, but they were supposed to have done a show or whatever. But that would have been interesting if you have like a show where it's like a dating show where you have people stranded on the island. I mean, quiet as it's kept, I would like to see a homosexual version of that, and then I could host it. Why y'all surprised? And that he lost money. The man is a walking con artist. He has never been good at making deals. He's always been a failure at business. And people are just now finding. I just don't understand how, after 2 terms, people are just coming to this conclusion. I was telling y'all that he was a failure at business before when he was in New York real estate. Like we all knew this. They did have a Real Housewives of Hollywood. House Husbands of Hollywood. Um, we were talking about like you talking about that show with the same show I was mentioning before with Kevin Hart that was on BET. Look, I was sitting there. Don't they wait? Hollywood Squares isn't that on TV? Didn't they revive that? I know I'm not bugging. Like there is a Hollywood Squares that they revived, and it's on CBS or something or another. So I don't remember. I mean, I believe that they do have a Hollywood Squares. Wait, who's Hamlin? Am I bugging? Anyway, okay, y'all. So now let's get back into the show and say, oh, wait, hold on. Let me take out the comments because that's usually what I do. Okay, so let's get them more gossip. And it's about Jennifer Lopez. So apparently there's a story going around from Reality T, which is basically saying that Jennifer Garner is not, because, Jennifer and Ben have divorced. And that Jennifer Garner, his previous wife, is not all that thrilled with Jennifer hanging out with their children, the children she has with Ben, um, allegedly, I will say, during the holidays. So Ben Affleck's ex-wife, Jennifer, well, sorry. Ben Affleck's, let me do that over because we don't know who Jennifer Lopez is, but we know who Jennifer Lopez is over here. Reportedly wants to have a tropical holiday with the actor and his 3 children, Finn Affleck, Violet Ann, and Samuel, whom he shares with his other ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. Jennifer also allegedly wishes to include her twins, Max and Emmy, who she shares with her other husband, well, her other ex-husband, I should say, Mark Anthony. Now, in the trip, however, this holiday plan by the I'm Into You singer has reportedly not been sitting well with Garner. Now, excuse me, it's saying that according to the National Enquirer, a source reported that Ben had the exact same issue last year. The person continued that he wound up finding a solution by splitting his time in LA between Jennifer and Jen. Now, in the meantime, the insider further went on to say that to the news outlet, that this is what Ben Affleck has suggested this year. But Jennifer's got her heart set on them doing something special as an extended family. After that, the source explained that Jennifer has offered to fly Ben and wait, hold on. How old is this story? Because this don't make no damn sense. Now, if I just came across this story a couple of days ago, they're not married. So why would Ben and her still be hanging out when they're divorced? There's no way in hell. See, this is why I should have paid. Hold on, let me actually look at this because I'm like, if I find out the day, I'm like, wait a minute, am I out here spilling old tea? It says November 18th, 2025. That's what's throwing me off. Like, wait a minute, if this story came out this year, the weird thing that is I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around is the fact that if you went through what you went through with Ben and you were sitting up here saying that you learned to love yourself and all that, because, according to RuPaul, if you can't learn to love yourself, how in the hell you going to love somebody else, right? Can I get a shaman, shaman, an amen, or whatever the hell you want to call it? But anyway, so me, I'm like, okay, so I understand that y'all kind of had like the blended family because your kids grew fond of Ben's kids when y'all were married and you don't want to break that up. You still want them to kind of have that rapport with each other. Y'all going to have to figure out how to make that work because there's no way in hell that I'm going to be like, okay, so the kids can go and spend time with the ex when y'all are broken up and you moved on. So why would she even be considering still wanting to hang out with Ben and do things with him unless Ben's still giving drive-bys? Like y'all realize that we're not good with the marriage, but we're good with we're still cordial. Whenever I want to get my pipes clean, then Ben comes over with his pipe and his flesh pipe and cleans out my gutter. So if that's what he's going to do or whatever in that situation, then okay, then there's that, which I think causes confusion amongst the kids and all this stuff. As long as they don't know that he coming over, slipping into the back door and slipping in your back door, metaphorically and literally, then I could understand that. But for the most part, I don't know. This story is like got me side eyeing the whole situation because I don't know. I would have a problem with this. Like if you put me through some ish and it took a while for me through therapy or whatever the case, according to her, this is what she would say every time they bring up the story that you was working out whatever you was working out with your therapist or whoever because you was dealing with why you keep getting these toxic, tumultuous relationships. And you had to learn to come to whatever issues you had dealing with in your childhood or whatever. So you come to terms with loving yourself and not having to depend on a man to get you through some things in life. Then I don't know. This has just got me in a world of confusion. So yeah, they were talking about that Jen and Ben's three kids have been longing for the company of Jennifer's children. The kids are all for J.Lo's plan. They love hanging out with their old step siblings, and Jen's now got a tough choice to make. On one hand, she welcomed the chance to enjoy romantic time with John, that'd be Jennifer Garner's man that she's with, but giving Jennifer, her blessing to take the kids away isn't sitting comfortably with her. She's telling Ben he needs to find another solution. What that would go to say, if we believe this, that maybe Jen Garner is not that fond of Jennifer. And my thing is this, me as the bigger person, if the kids want to kind of hang out and do something together, like go to the movies, whatever the case is, it's like, okay, they can find a time to powwow amongst each other and we just have the nanny facilitate, like be the mediator and kind of go and oversee what's going on. And the bodyguards, whatever the case is, because you can't leave these kids running around here by themselves. The way these people be out here trying to hold celebrity kids for ransom. So yeah, the security, everybody is gonna be like the kids get to go out and do whatever, but of course there'll be eyes watching to make sure that they're protected. But I don't know with holidays and that is kind of a touchy subject. That's a bit of a slippery slope. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. So um I'm kind of with Jen on that one. Now, like I said, there could be exceptions where if y'all want to go to the movies, y'all want to go to arcade, y'all want to do little things together, or kind of go to like a mutual situation where y'all all can hang out as friends or whatever, because your parents are once upon a time married, then that's cute. But that's why I always say in this situation, it it's a slippery slope because it's like when you get into a relationship with somebody and y'all have blended families, how do you divorce the kids from each other after the parents are divorced. So I'm genuinely curious to hear what you guys have to say on this story. So yeah, how do you feel about this whole situation? Do you agree with Jen Gardner, where it's just like, I don't know if I would want holidays like the ex-wife of my ex-husband to be wanting to do quality time stuff with my children that I have with my ex-husband. I don't know how I feel that way. If you believe this story, I don't know. I'm kind of on a bubble in regards to whether or not I believe this story, but it's a thing that we could just sit and entertain and talk about. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. So drop your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Hollywood Squares is on CBS. Drew Barrymore is one of the regulars. Unless Hannaful or her kids are a bad influence, I'm not sure what the problem is. I don't think there's a that her kids are bad influences because I've never heard anything negative about Max and Emmy. Like we've never heard them coming out here being problem children or whatever the case is. Like we hear about some of these other damn celebrity kids. Like um I definitely feel like Kim as in Kardashian, got a lot cut out for her with them old rude ass kids she got, but and spoiled. But yeah, we haven't heard anything bad about Jennifer Lopez's kids. But I don't know. I feel a little weird about it. When it's not like going away for holidays and that sort of thing, it's still like hold on to that connection of Ben. And it's like if that man was problematic, toxic, you were dealing with a lot of his stuff. I don't know if I want to continue to attach myself to anything that has to do with him and his toxicity, even though they were quite cordial with each other at that Kiss of the Spider Woman premiere, because he produced the movie, which flopped pretty bad at the box office. And that movie's actually what do you call it? That movie is actually on you could rent it at home or whatever. So if you haven't seen it, I guess you could watch it at home. All right. So damn, I was going through all of this and I forgot to do my little situation. So we got two more topics left until we wrap up today's show. So before we get to our final two topics, if you could please do me a solid if you have not already, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with the brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. Now without further ado, let's get into some homosexual news. And let's talk about this homosexual actor, Kevin Spacey. So, according to reports, the other day we talked about there was a story that came out that Kevin Spacey's homeless. They made it seem like that, yeah, he literally had nowhere to go, that he's been like living out here like a nomad or whatever the case is. And to an extent, that could be true because as an actor, actors by nature live as nomads. Yeah, you can have somewhere that you lay roots down, but for the most part, if you're making a lot of movies and you're traveling the world, you're living all over the place from, Airbnbs, hotels, whatever the case is, until you're finished shooting how many ever movies that you're shooting within that year. And you can shoot a lot of movies within a year. It doesn't take a lot to be on a set, depending on but then again, it depends on the size of the film. So Kevin Spacey is actually setting the record straight and says that, yeah, y'all got it a bit misconstrued. I'm not homeless in the sense of like, yeah, I'm like on the streets, literally panhandling for coins. But I guess if you're talking about in that sense, I didn't think it was in that sense. He doing too much. But then again, as I said, he's a homosexual, and the homosexuals have a flair for the dramatic. So stories about the House of Cards star have been wait being they put stories about the House of Cards star being began. I think y'all meant began to circulate following his interview. Look at me having a proofread as I'm reading somebody else's messed up article that they didn't proofread with the Telegraph on Wednesday, November 19th, in which he revealed he lost the Baltimore home where he had lived for 12 years. But he set the record straight on Instagram on Sunday, the November 23rd. Now, I do have his Instagram post. Let's take a gander over to Instagram and hear what Mr. Spacey had to say. Please hold.
Everyone. I don't usually make it my business to correct the media. If I did, I wouldn't have time for much else. But in light of the recent articles claiming I am homeless, I feel the need to respond. Not to the press, but to the thousands of people who have reached out over the past few days, offering me a place to stay, or have just asked if I'm okay. And to all of you, let me first say that I am truly touched by your generosity, full stop. But I feel it would be disingenuous of me to allow you to believe that I am indeed homeless in the colloquial sense. In my conversation with Mick Brown, the wonderful journalist who wrote the story that was in the Telegraph where this rumor first began, I said I was basically living in hotels and Airbnbs and going where the work is, just as I did when I first started out in this business. I've been working nearly nonstop this entire year, and for that, I have so much to be grateful for. And there are many people, as we all know, who are indeed actually living on the streets or in their cars or in terrible financial situations, and my heart goes out to them. But it is clear from the article itself that I am not one of them, nor was I attempting to say that I was. Which is why it was a shame that the Telegraph chose to undermine the work of their own journalist by selling him out with a knowingly misleading headline for the sake of clicks.
And so I feel like we could just stop it there. Y'all pretty much got the point in regards of this thing. But here's the thing: when I heard the story, that's what I took from it. Not necessarily, everybody went and just ran with that. Oh my God, he's homeless. That means he's like living out of his car or in a RV or something like I know it wasn't in that sense. I know the fact that what he was saying was that, yeah, I've been acting pretty much for, I've been getting a lot of work lately. So my primary focus, yeah, I've been living in Airbnbs and hotels, which is literally what actors do whenever they're traveling. They're on the road a lot. They're traveling around the world shooting things, be it in LA, New York, outside the US, Canada, whatever. They're filming in different places. So yeah, you're living the life of a nomad. So you're going from place to place and you're setting up roots there temporarily until the movie is finished. And then you go on to the next gig. This is what people in acting, music, any kind of arts, this is what they do. And that's what I took from it. But of course, because people hear the headline homeless, y'all always immediately jump to the worst aspect of what you think homeless mean. And so yeah, then so it could be I think it's the overreaction of the fans that jumped in the comments and was, with that. And sometimes you gotta what I've learned dealing with people in this, and me especially working in customer service and guest service and all other things, you literally have to talk to people like they're literally 5 years old. You do. Because not everybody has the vernacular or the intelligence that they could actually break things down into a place. Like if you read a headline or you read an article, it's like, oh, I get what they meant by that. Not everybody can see things in that way. So yeah, sometimes you're gonna break things down for people who might be a little slow getting to the situation. And so that could also be the fault of the article, the people that wrote the article. What was it, the Telegraph that he said? Um, because they do that. A lot of times people don't read articles. They look at headlines, they do the short to the point clicks, and that people run with it. A lot of people don't want to take the time to sit and actually read a full article or do things. Some people just go by the headline and just go with it. You know how many times I've done show like segments on this show that I've cut up on and posted on my social medias, and people didn't even listen to a word I said, but they will comment based off the headline, and I will goop and gag them because I can tell they didn't watch the video. Because I know how I do on this channel. I'm multi-layered with a lot of the stuff that I come up, because what you're not going to do is try to catch me out here in these streets saying some one-sided shit. So I already know, like, I got to come with all the little the points and the receipts and everything, and break it on down so that way I hit all those points, and then it is what it is. So I just feel like at this point, this is a bunch of nothing. I mean, I'm glad you clarified what you were, what was said and everything. But I just feel like it was just people overreacting, and it could be also the fault of the article people, because they know like rage bait, sensationalism, clicks, likes, all that other stuff gets people the attention that they need to gravitate towards the article. Because journalism, yeah, they're these old school journalists. They're trying to battle a lot of podcasters and people who come in and say certain things. So they're trying to get in where they fit in. And yeah, a lot of it is they sensationalizing it. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? The fact that Kevin Spacey had to clarify the rumors that he is literally homeless. Like I said before, I knew he wasn't meaning he was homeless, like he was flat broke and didn't have no money or whatever the case was. But it was just that he's been living the life of a nomad because he's a working actor. As most actors, this is what they do when they're performers. They travel. They're always living from place to place temporarily until they decide to take a break and they want to sit down roots into wherever they live. So, but I do wonder also if there was even any mention of the fact that okay, so now you're saying you're not homeless in the sense of what the layman terms of like what homeless is. So, do you still have that house in Baltimore, or did you decide because all the legal situations that was going on because of those accusations that you actually have that you decide to downsize and get like a smaller place, whatever the case was? So, I'm definitely curious to hear about that if you elaborated on that. But which, based off of this article, I don't think that he did mention any of that. All it does, the rest of the article from Pink News just mentions the fact that he was accused of committing sexual offenses against four men between 2004 and 2013 at while he was artistic director at London's Old Vic Theatre. And in 2023, he was cleared of all 9 charges, which he denied, including SA and causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent. And then, of course, he was found not liable in New York for battery regarding allegations that he had picked up Star Trek Discovery actor Anthony Rapp and laid on top of him after a party in 1986. Well, goddamn, you take it all the way back. And I think Anthony was young in that time. I think he was like a kid at the time. So, but and it seems like a lot of people that was in his comments, they were pro Kevin Spacey. So it is what it is. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Harry said he will always have a home in an autistic man is finally set free from ICE after 48 days. Was that the one that they jumped on with that was autistic? And you could definitely see in the video that he had some type of isms or whatever. It said after 48 days, I have so much thoughts. I could just imagine the trauma and therapy he's a part. Not only him, but so many others that they've scooped up without due process and all the other like the lineage of lawsuits that's going to be plaguing ICE. Well, first of all, if the next president doesn't abolish ICE, then you're trash because ICE should have been abolished a long time ago. The Democrats just didn't want to do it. The Democrats had every opportunity to abolish ICE. They ain't do it. Now look at where we are. Now he looked terrible. I saw that he was reunited with his mom. She said, "Glad you are not homeless." Yeah, so now let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about Drag Race. So apparently, Drag Race ended up in the Epstein files. I don't know if y'all heard about this story, but I was like, this is crazy when I first heard about this. So apparently, RuPaul's Drag Race, and some people were thinking, wait, so RuPaul went to Epstein Island and stuff? No, it was nothing that drastic. Like some of y'all be doing the demos, but RuPaul's Drag Race apparently was brought up in the Epstein files. So newly released Jeffrey Epstein files has sparked a frenzy among RuPaul Drag Race fans after it emerged that the MTV show is named in them. The RuPaul Drag Race Reddit snowballed into bewilderment this week after it was revealed that RuPaul's Drag Race is literally in the Epstein files. The document that are becoming public, revealing various parts of information and communication regarding convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Whilst one initial post was undoubtedly quite clickbait and panic inducing, which said that RuPaul himself was mentioned in the files. It's not actually the case. However, Drag Race as a show was mentioned in the Epstein files. So here's the tea of what they were saying is going on in there. First of all, this is a long ass article, so long I can't even read it. That's how small it is. But somebody took the PDF file and posted it on the thing. So we don't even need to go through that. But now they went on to say this. So they said the show gets a mention in the Epstein files basically because in some data it shows that someone who was on Epstein Island downloaded the show to watch, specifically from iTunes. Now it's similar to the time when everyone freaked out that Kate Blanchett was in the Epstein files, but it turned out as someone on Reddit put it was mentioned that they watched a film starring Kate Blanchett. I wonder if it was the movie where she played the lesbian composer. I wonder if it was that, since y'all over there downloading Drag Race. And everybody was like, whoa, she's in the Epstein files. Now, when someone on Reddit looked into the data more specifically, it showed the fact that the show was downloaded from iTunes, and more specifically, that somebody was watching All Stars 4. Quite an iconic season, to be fair, with, with a lot of drama. Drag Race wasn't the only show being watched on Epstein Island, though. The files also showed other things being watched were Shadowhunters, Pose, and Tales of the City. Okay, who is the homosexual that was on Epstein Island? Because if you go in Kate Blanchett, which I'm sure is probably, like I said, I can't remember the name of the damn movie, but the movie where she played the lesbian composer, that was actually a good movie, though. I can't remember the name of it. The name escapes me. But anyway, but you're downloading Shadowhunters, which was like the poor man's version of the Vampire Diaries, even though it was like giving that. Pose and Tales of the City, those are gay themed shows. Shadowhunters was gay-ish, but Pose and Tales of the City, that is full down homosexual tease with that show. So they said there's a lot of concern, however, right now over how a lot of places are running with the line. RuPaul was mentioned in the Epstein files, which is obviously very different to the show being watched in the data. So yeah, unless you got pictures of RuPaul, you know, digging out some underage boy on Epstein Island, and y'all got the pictures, you got the foot, like just like Jeffrey Epstein got dirt on Trump, among other people. If y'all had RuPaul, then we can come out here and say that RuPaul don't know nothing about no damn Epstein Island. Hell, but there's things we could question RuPaul about with the fracking and a bunch of other things. But being on Epstein Island is not one of them. So I don't buy it. I'm glad this was cleared up. That literally what had happened was somebody on the island was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and why not? The show is entertaining, especially All Stars 4. That was a good damn season. I mean, I can't say the same thing about a lot of the seasons now. Sidebar, I'm still waiting to find out when we're going to get RuPaul's Drag Race Meet the Queens for season 18, because it's about that time. Like, if y'all allegedly planning on dropping the new season, well, the whole red carpet situation on December 9th, which is my grandfather's birthday, actually, may he rest in peace. If you're going to bring that up around December 9th, then we need the announcement either this week or maybe they're going to save it for next week, because if you announce it by like next Monday or Tuesday, then you can have the new season where they're going to do the whole red carpet situation. So we have that. And then also there's something with Drag Race and their 7 seasons. Why is it always that the 7 seasons are bad? RuPaul's Drag Race regular season 7 was terrible. The one that Violet Chachki won. And they had all the good people on there. Trixie was on there. Katya was on there. Who else? Um, is there something on my face? Pearl, Miss Fame, Ginger Minge. They had a good gobble of cast members on it. That season was just trash though. And now we got Drag Race UK season 7. That channel, they need to burn that damn season at the stake. It's god awful. I hate this season. I stopped watching it. But I will say the one season that I'm loving so far, and I know this might be weird for me to say for y'all. I know we're going on a whole Drag Race tangent with this, but I'm actually liking Canada's Drag Race. Now, y'all know how I be feeling about the Canadian queens, but this season, that first episode with Paula Abdul, let me tell you, I had a good time with that episode, and I'm hoping that we get more of that with this upcoming season. So I'm pretty much excited for Canada's Drag Race, and I haven't really been feeling it, but this season, I'm actually liking the first episode so far. So, with all that being said, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding this whole thing? I don't know if y'all even heard about it, whatever the case was, but yeah, Canada, I mean, not Canada, RuPaul's Drag Race was mentioned in the Epstein files, among other things. So, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. MAGA Mike Johnson must have been him. Oh, you thinking that Mike Johnson, Mike Grinder Johnson was over there on Epstein Island watching Drag Race, Shadowhunters pose, and the other gay show? Maybe RuPaul gave one of them closeted queens a happy end. Okay. Can you imagine? These articles must be trying it. Okay, there's a lot of articles trying it today, and a lot of people in the comments trying me too. And instead of me cussing y'all the fuck out, as I said, I'm just hitting the block button. I'm thinking the wait is for a possible disqualified queen. Well, they need to hurry up and reveal that tea, because I did hear what was it, Discord Adams? That was the one that got allegedly kicked off the show. You said, I love how I'm finding this out. Wait, I'm finding out about this from you. I love season 7, but the whole show in general is falling. I mean, but you said failing, you too general for me. Man, you like season 7 of, oh, you said falling out of favor. What were you talking about? Season 7 of UK? Paula Abdul ARP covers international travel, apparently. Oh, is she? Well, somebody need to ask her. So, girl, did you get kicked off the show for fighting? Allegedly. They never had a physical, well, as far as we know of, a physical altercation on Drag Race. But that was the rumor why she was fired. I mean, why she was kicked off the show. And you know that is part of the rules. You're not supposed to put no hands on nobody. Although it would have been cute to try to see that fight between Kandi Muse and Tamisha Iman. But then again, Tamisha was recovering from being sick, so that would have been real messed up if Kandi would have did that, and that would have messed up her bag. But yeah, Paula Abdul was on the recent episode, and I actually like what she brought. Like, she was giving the girls really good advice. She even got on the stage at one point, was trying to show them how to like stand on the stage to make yourself look taller. And then stand. And it was funny she was doing that because it just showed like how tiny she was standing next to the other queens. That was a hilarious part. But yeah, but that's why I wondered. You said you like season 7 of which season, the US or the UK? Oh, that's what it was. It was racist stuff. Well, hopefully the tea gets spilled because I need somebody to leak that information. Or who knows? Maybe when Roscoe's comes back, we'll get Naisha Lopez to spill it because she be knowing this stuff. Even though everybody get mad when she be telling us the tea. But anyway, all right, y'all. So, wait, hold on. Where am I? That wasn't what I wanted to do. I want to take the comments thingy out because we're at the end of the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to thank you all and all that good stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. The regulars, the newbies, and the haters. Who I had to block quite a few of y'all up in the comments because y'all was trying my damn patience. But luckily, I have a thick skin and I ain't got time for the foolishness. And y'all will, the more you keep on, we send them on to the block party. But I understand how that is. The more your show, the bigger your show becomes, the more people will try to jump in the comments with the bullshit. So I'm already prepared for that. And I knew that was going to happen the bigger this channel gets. So thank you all for those of you who actually love and appreciate the mess that goes on in this show. I'll be back on tomorrow with a brand new episode of the show. If you have not already, please hit that like button, that subscribe button. Also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I love you all for your continued support and all that good stuff. And until next time, ciao, darlings.